Then. Hello, willkommen, bienvenue, konnichiwa. It's time for another Amish Inquisition, episode 423 on Sunday, the 17th of May, 2026. I'm Phil.
And I am Matt.
And we're very happy to be joined by a special guest tonight, all the way from the new world, the old world.
Exactly, yeah.
We've got author and researcher Gary Wayne with us tonight. How you doing, Gary? Can you hear us?
I can, and so happy to be with you guys tonight. So happy that you invited me, and really looking forward to the conversation today.
Absolutely, us too.
Definitely.
I was just saying before we set off, I read your main book. In fact, I've got a cover of the two book. When I say main book, I mean your first book, the Genesis 6 Conspiracy, which I read about 6 years ago, I think, and found it utterly riveting. One of those kinds of books that I couldn't put down. So it's been a long time coming for us, this. So, yeah, very happy to have you with us tonight.
Perfect.
And, I mean, you're no stranger to doing podcasts, are you, Gary? You do lots of interviews, lots of YouTube.
I do. So I've actually cut it back this year. I was averaging about 7 a week for the last 3 years. So I've cut it back to about 4 to 5 a week.
Oh.
So
Easy.
I'm trying to get back into retirement slowly, I guess.
Yeah.
How did it all start for you, Gary? Why Nephilim? Why did you get into this subject?
Yeah, no, I had no idea I was ever going to talk about Nephilim. And when I started my research, I had no idea what Nephilim were. I knew what giants were. I had no idea they were connected in any sort of way. So, way back in 1981, when I was very young, I was at my house, and my brother and his friend came over, and we started drinking. And as evening wore on and we drank more, they said, "How much courage do you have?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I'm like 20 or 21 years old, so of course I'm going to say, yeah, bring it on, right? What do you have in mind?" They said, "Well, if you have enough courage, we have a book for you to read." And they said this after talking about some really weird things like Antichrist and false prophet and things like that as they were going off into this conversation. And so I had no idea what the book was. I said, "So name the book, I'll read it. I'm not afraid of anything." So it's probably a book that most people in this generation aren't all that familiar with. It was called The Late Great Planet Earth by a fellow by the name of Hal Lindsey, who was a prolific prophetic writer in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and wrote many, many books. And I didn't know anything about prophecy. I had sort of was raised in a Baptist church when I was young, but so I kind of moved away from that into high school and into the whole evolutionary theory and everything like that. So I read the book, and it scared the socks off of me. And I thought, what, even if 10% of this is true, I need to know more about it, but I also need to verify, is he accurate in his writings? And I'm a contrarian. I was a contrarian back then. So, and what I mean by being a contrarian is I like to verify things myself. And I don't believe what somebody says, what they said they saw somewhere. I want to know for myself. And that puts me in sort of a contrarian position as to going against the standard flow of society, whether or not it's politics, whether or not it is religion, is it history, it doesn't really matter, because we get fed certain narratives and it's not always the truth. And so as I started to do the research on that, and the only way you can do that is read the Bible. And so I had to learn the Bible, and I had no idea how big of a project that was. So shortening the story is, as you start to as I was tracking the narratives or the prophetic narratives into handwritten files, I mean, you get to Genesis 6 pretty fast in the first book, and it says giants, and I'm going, whatever that is, I want nothing to do with. That's crazy talk. I'm not here to do that. I'm trying to figure out whether this Lindsay character was being truthful or not. But the trouble is those giants keep coming up. The demons keep coming up. The fallen angels keep coming up, and they're somehow related to the end time. So I thought, well, while I'm doing my research, I might as well start document what the Bible has to say on all of those topics and related topics. So keeping in mind that started in about 1981, so roll forward to about 1996. I've got everything sort of formulated. I've put narratives into Bibles just for so I can follow things into binders, I mean, not Bibles. And so I thought, well, maybe I could write like 14 or 15 or 20 books with all of this information, but I don't have a university education. I'm not a minister. I didn't go take any theology courses. And I thought, well, I don't even know whether I can get published. I don't even know whether or not I can write a book. And I only have a high school education. So I decided, well, why don't I do something really interesting with this really weird topic that I know a little bit about? Because when I was young, I was a history buff, so and a mythology buff. So I read Greek mythology and Greek history, Sumerian mythology, Egyptian. So I knew giants were in those um, other sources, and I knew there's a similarity that is sort of can't be coincidental. That's kind of where I'm at when I decide I'm going to see whether I can connect this. And how can I connect those giants is the premise of the book to Revelation, is that because there seems to be a connection throughout the Bible. So that's how I got into it. I wrote like the first 8 or 10 chapters quickly, but then I realized a lot of the Christian audience that I'm targeting for the book doesn't understand other religions and doesn't understand how it affected the cultures, not only in prehistory, history, and where we are today. So then I have to research all of the different religions and all the different scriptures and I have to take notes and things like that. And then I realize there's something connected to the religions called mystery schools. And that was educating the elite at that time and all the way through history up to about 150 to 200 years ago. So then I have to find out and research what the relationship between mystery schools and polytheist religions are. And then I realized there's a connection there to secret societies and the initiatory organizations that are throughout history that begin with all of this. So then I have to research secret societies, and I don't know anything about secret societies. So like I'm down like rabbit holes for a decade on that. And trying to document and everything. And I've gotten so much information. It's just ridiculous. And I'm trying to weave it into the short little book to see whether I could get published. And it goes from like, 10 chapters to 100 chapters because there's an epic, there's a preface and an epilogue in it. And I have to weed it down even before I want to present it to a publisher, if I can get to a publisher, because that's not easily done either, from 1150 pages down to about 800 pages. So I edit it down to that, and then I go out and I try and see whether or not I can get published. So that's kind of how I got into this. But how I ended up from what I wanted to do to see whether I could get a short book published to where I ended up was not where I wanted to go. But I was just sort of led to do it, and I just kept getting sent information and coming across things inexplicably and just decided, you know what? I'm not going to have any peace unless I see the connections, and then I'll decide whether or not I put it in the book. But every time I find this really juicy stuff, I want to put it into the book because I'm a bit obsessed. So that's how it sort of got there. And then book 2 comes about because I have another book I wanted to write that I still haven't put out yet. Because Christians say, we want you to do what you did in book 1, but we want you to do that more in depth within the Bible. And I'm going, well, that's not what I want to do again. But I realized the calling was out there because the churches don't teach prehistory and prophecy. So I went deep into the Bible for them and put out book 2, which is getting, I think very good reviews and has been selling, very, very well and has been out for a couple of years. And that's kind of how I got there. I won't go through where I am with the third book, but the Oprimo Conspiracy is a novel that I partnered with my publisher to try and take my research both in prehistory and in end time prophecy, both polytheist and monotheist, a little bit more mainstream in terms of connecting the dots and put it into an interesting sort of narrative.
So I think it's fair to say your work revolves around the Nephilim and the influence across history. That's fair to say. I would say. So let's start. Well,
that's sort of what I became sort of famous for, but I would invert that it would be what I am more passionate about is prophecy, and Nephilim is involved with that. But that doesn't mean I can't go deeper than anybody else on Nephilim.
So let's go to the beginning. Where did the Nephilim come from?
Well, yeah, it's a really sort of good question, and it's number one, it's a strange term. And in not all Bible translations use the word Nephilim or Nephilim, depending on how you want to pronounce that. Ends with I-Y-M, I-M as it's transliterated into English. But it's a word that comes out of Hebrew. And it means a giant, a tribe of giant, can also mean a bully, can also mean a woodcutter, and it can also mean a tyrant. But all three of those are descriptions of Nephilim if you do enough research to find out why they're included in there, and gives you a better understanding of who these people were. So the giants show up in Genesis 6. So 5 chapters after, the creation and the Eden accounts and the descendants of Cain, and it's descendants of Cain who are going to provide daughters to the sons of God, as they're listed in Genesis 6, who are going to copulate with the wives or the daughters and produce these Nephilim, which are giants. And so this is biblically how we see giants show up before the flood. And then there's another interesting term, is that they do so again. And as you take that back to the Hebrew, in like manner. So they did it more than once. So they created in multiple incursions, and that may explain how you have giants after the flood. So you have a choice if giants show up after the flood, which they're biblically documented, and in all accounts all around the world, they're documented both before and after the flood. And we don't have a verse in the Bible on how they show up. You can look at that as saying, well, that's sort of inferring that also again occurred after the flood and something called a second incursion, and we can talk about that down the road. But just to sort of how they got created, that they were both before the flood and after the flood. Now, what's really interesting, if people aren't familiar with this topic, is that in all cultures all around the world, all religions, on all continents, and who knows what we'll find on Antarctica, that's a rabbit hole in itself, you have this account of the gods in polytheism or fallen angels who create these giants, both before and after the flood. And so we have almost the same stories, just seen through a polytheist lens, shown through polytheist religions versus the monotheist version in the Bible. And so if you look at Greek history, which most people would be familiar with, and the Atlantis story, is you have Poseidon, who likely inherits the mythos of a parent god named Iapetus, because they have identical accountings, and one's an offspring god, one's a parent god. One rules before the flood, one rules after the flood in the Greek accounts. So Poseidon likely inherits, but either way, they do the same thing. And so Poseidon, and we'll use the god that most people are familiar with Atlantis. Poseidon goes to a human female named Cleito and produces 10 demigod giant kings to rule over the 10 empires of Atlantis. And these accounts are told in multiple sources coming out of Greek history and mythology. I think Plato probably is the most famous that people would recognize, and wrote Timaeus and Critias of these accounts. One was finished, one wasn't, but they're both talking about the same Atlantean account, and that he receives this information from somebody named Solon, who had visited Egypt and actually met with the Egyptian priests who had the story on these ancient antediluvian columns and wrote it down and then took it back. So this is an account that's told over and over and over all over the world. So you have, like the Anunnaki in Sumer, who are going to create with human females giants. And the most famous one would be Gilgamesh, which is interestingly enough not a before the flood giant in this accounting, although he might inherit the mythos. He's actually born 6 generations after the flood. So in the Epic of Gilgamesh, you actually have an arc story with the survival of giants because they're all 2/3 demigods, 2/3, I mean, not 2/3 demigods, they're 2/3 God and 1/3 human. So they're like a demigod. I would usually refer to a 50-50, but there's something maybe a little bit different there where it's 1/3 human and 2/3, but it could be just to embellish the mythos. It's hard to know. But Gilgamesh is the offspring of the fertility goddess Ninsun in some of the transliterations that comes out of the Mesopotamian region, and a king of Uruk named Lugalbanda, essentially meaning a giant king. And so Gilgamesh is 19 feet tall. He's 11 cubits tall. And not just in the Sumer traditions, but in the Akkadian traditions, and even in the Ugaritic texts, the same dimensions. And he is 4 cubits wide or 7 feet wide. So he's 19 feet tall, 7 feet wide.
Wow.
I mean, this is not tall. This is something different.
It's large.
And so I won't go through all of the historical accounts around the world, but just to give an idea that there are giants that are before the flood, and then giants that seem to either survive and or a second incursion for another creation of giants after the flood all around the world. So it's a common hidden history that has not been adequately explained to us.
Right, yeah, all around the world. So all around the world, we have stories of giants. We have stories of demigods, people who are the offspring of humans and gods.
Yeah.
And we have a universal flood myth as well.
Yeah.
So would it be fair to say that the Nephilim are sort of hybrid creatures then?
Yeah, they're hybrid human and angelic creatures from a monotheist perspective, hybrid human and gods from a polytheist perspective, aka demigods, and the ancient meaning for the word demigod is the offspring of a human and a god or a goddess.
Right. So this, when you say gods, is this related to the term Elohim, which is used in the Bible?
Well, Elohim is a word that can be used in a few different ways. Elohim is the plural form. It's got that I am on it, just as Nephilim does, and it's the male plural. And it can also mean ones, and usually, so with Nephilim, it would be the giant ones. So if you would use that as the angels, it would be the angel ones or the godly ones, right? And because it can mean strong and powerful, but it generally is used for, in the singular L, for an angel or a god and or mighty or strong. So Azazel, for example, is a famous fallen angel, ends in EL. And Az and Azaz in the Hebrew means mighty and strong. It's like an Icarus angel, as the Templars associated it with their god Baphomet, which was, they called it Agio Icarus, holy, strong angel, right? So the terminologies and the words tell a lot in the story, but when we look at that word Elohim, it can also mean in the singular EL and in the uppercase, the God Most High, or as Elohim as the God Most High in the uppercase as well. And it can also mean more than one God. So you could use Elohim from the original Hebrew to describe El Elyon for the God Most High, or you could also include it for the God and the tripartite nature. And you can also use it to describe angels and gods in the polytheist pantheon as the fallen ones. So the context of the application is very, very important. And it gets kind of confusing because, you know, in the Semitic languages in the beginning, they're very, very similar. So in the Ugaritic texts, it's using El as the parent god before the flood. And Baal and Al is a transliteration of El, So Lord God, husband God, words like that you would use to define it. But El is the chief parent god, equivalent with Kronos of the Greek pantheon, equivalent with Anu of the Sumerian pantheon, equivalent with Ra or Ta of the Egyptian pantheon. Baal is the offspring god that rules after the flood, who creates the Rephaim giants in the Ugaritic texts, and is equivalent to Osiris, equivalent to Zeus, equivalent to Anki. And I won't go, I'm just using the three same pantheons, but it's the same name of the gods for the offspring and parent gods in all cultures all around the world by the positions that they hold. There's just different vernacular names for them.
Baal would be the pronunciation a lot of people would be more familiar with. You were sort of saying Baal or something.
Yeah, it's a compound Hebrew word.
Yeah. And wasn't he worshipped later on in like a bull form with all the sacrificing kids and all the rest of it?
Yes, and bull and the sun and the sun disk are part of the antediluvian religion and the early post-diluvian polytheist religions. So Baal is envisioned as a bull, but you're not sure exactly whether or not, does that mean that's a type of angel that might be a bull, which would be one head of a cherubim or a cherub, or is it a seraphim angel? Or does it represent more the religion? So when we talk about Nin, who we talked about earlier, she was a bull goddess in the Sumerian pantheon. So again, is that attributing her to what order of god or angel she is, or is that still that bull sun worshiping relationship with that sun disk that's in the center of the two horns? You have like Ashtaroth, who is the wife or consort of El, of the antediluvian or before the flood pantheon. And there's a city that was an ancient city that was named at Mount Hermon, named Ashtaroth. And it's called in the War of Giants in Genesis 14 to 15 of the Mesopotamian giants coming and fighting the giants in the covenant land. They begin at Mount Hermon and they go to Rephaim Karnaim, which is Ashtaroth is the female mother goddess, the queen of heaven at that time. And Karnaim is the Hebrew word Karen, for Karn there, K-A-R-N. So this is Q-U-E-R-N, but transliteration in English, K-A-R-N, and I-M for the plural. So it's the two bulls of Ashtaroth. So she's called a bull as well as a bull goddess, even though they're likely seraphim, which is a serpent-faced, dragon-faced angel or god. But all gods around the earth were called bulls because of their fertility capability and their strength. So it's as much a description for them as it is for their offspring. So in the Ugaritic text, you have the Baalim Council of Gods that rule from Mount Hermon, Mount Saphon, mountain of the north in Hebrew and in Old Semitic that the Ugaritic texts were written in. Baal is the singular form of the chief god. When you see I am, as in the Baalim, people will use that term particularly out of the Bible. It's more Baals, which means the Baalim council of gods that are ruling after the flood at Mount Hermon. And they're called bulls as well. And then their offspring are called bulls. So moving back over to the Sumerian accounts, and back with Gilgamesh to stay consistent for the audience, is that you have a bull goddess who's creating Gilgamesh, an offspring, who's a wild bull, as he's described. He's described as a bull. So it's a title and a name that goes with them. That's part of the understanding of who they are, and where you would get bully as part of the definition for Nephilim.
All right. Bully. So going back to the sort of conception of the Nephilim, what's the story behind why the angels fell to earth and decided to procreate with human women?
Yeah, so it begins before that. It begins with Satan, who is the one who rebels.
Is this the serpent in the garden? Is it going back that far?
Well, people say Satan is the serpent in the garden, but biblically, he's not a serpent in the garden. The book of Ezekiel in chapter 28 calls him the anointed cherubim that was in Eden. So he would be more cherubim in that sort of aspect. The serpent is the Hebrew word nahash, Nachash, and pronounced Nahash. And that means a serpent, a beast of the field, as it's described in Genesis 3. But it's working with Satan is more likely. But people want to imagine Satan as the dragon and the serpent because you get that description in Revelation 12. He's the ancient serpent and dragon and devil as part of his other titles. So he's also part Archon as well. He's also part Morning Star of the Morning Star order as in Hail El Ben Shakar, which we get out of the King James Version in Isaiah 14:12 as Lucifer, son of the morning. It's the Hebrews there is Hail El. Hail El is likely his name for the Morning Star order, just as you have morning stars in the book of Job's where the sons of God and the morning stars were celebrating at creation. So he's got attributes of other angels. So in the book of Enoch, there is an angel that's named in the garden named Gadrael, meaning, as you take that back to the Hebrew, wall of God or God's wall. So that may have been the cherubic name for Satan. The Kabbalah have a serpent name for Satan when he's in his seraphic form, and that's Samael.
Right.
So he has multiple names, probably for his different titles and positions and attributes, and he's higher than all the other angels. So is he working with the Nahash serpent that is there unexplained as this being? Because we don't get a technical creation for this being, but it's a walking, talking, intelligent human that the Gnostics said was taller than a human, as tall as a camel, and could do the work in one day that it would take men at least 7 days or longer to do. So it was a very strong and powerful animal, and probably serpent-like after the image of Satan's seraphic form, or seraphim angels, which are the most predominant watcher who procreated more giants than the other watchers. And just as you have serpentine gods in the pantheons all around the world in polytheism, whether it's the dragon creator gods, and seraphims are six-winged dragon angels with a serpent's face, or the Nagas in India, or the Uraeus gods of the Middle East, whether it's Osiris or El, or whether it's Kronos or Zeus, or Osiris or Ptah, they're all serpentine imageries, or the plumed serpent and the feathered serpent and the Popol Vuh and the Aztecs.
Quetzalcoatl and all that.
Yeah, so Voltan and all these other different ones that you go through those accounts, again, a common legacy and a common hidden history all around the world, just as pyramids are all around the world that are not properly explained as well. So it's all intertwined into this ancient sort of history that we get this pablum fed to us in a narrative that they can't properly defend. And they move between, well, it's theory to fact, depending on what audience they're talking to.
Right. So why did the angels fall from heaven and procreate?
So we don't get a passage biblically why 200 angels, as the book of Enoch numbers them. There are other accounts around the world that might say 300. But 200 is a standard number. We don't get a biblical account that explains why they followed Satan and went to Mount Hermon, but we do get apocryphal and other reasons for it. But it's Satan who is the one that is persuading them to follow him, and that to protect themselves, becomes inference and a bit of speculation, to protect themselves from the direct wrath of the God Most High, because they know how powerful he is, they're going to create a race to get blood on those people's hands, to give them plausible deniability and space. They're going to say, yes, we created them. Yes, we violated those laws, but they're the ones who did all the damage to the humans. So what happens when you take a physical form in the physical world, because gods and angels are spirit beings from a different dimension.
Okay.
But to interact physically, you're going to need to take a physical form. And when you interact physically and you're sinning in that world or violating the laws or whatever you want to call those types of actions, that affects the world and your body is affected. So now they're subject to feelings, lust. And they have this agenda that they want to win a rebellion away from God and to have their own realm.
Right.
And so what they're going to do in this plan is they're going to try and have humankind destroyed from the face of the earth so they do not reach their destiny with the resurrection, which they don't know about at this point, but to somehow be raised up to be like angels and to be the inheritors of eternity. And so they're going to use the demigods to destroy them from the face of the earth is the plan. And so what you have is a whole history of intertwined relationship between humans and the giants that are created after, and this very advanced race of beings that have technology and science way beyond what we have, and we're just sort of catching up to this day to where it was at the peak of the flood. And that these fallen angels had the ability to take a physical form. And we would know that from a biblical perspective as an oiketerion. It's a Greek word as it shows up in the New Testament for a dwelling place for the spirit. So when the angels left their habitation, oiketerion, house in heaven, and in another book in 2 Corinthians 5:2, which is house in heaven, so a dwelling place, defined as a dwelling place for the spirit, as you take it back to the meaning, they're going to require a dwelling place in this physical world, just as 2 Corinthians 5 says we long for this other dwelling place in heaven. But we have a dwelling place on earth, and that's the soul and the body, which is of the physical world. And so they're going to have their spirit merge into this oiketerion that they can create, a soul and a body, and then they can pass on DNA because they've taken that physical sort of form. When a demon possesses a body, you have two bodies, two spirits in that soul, which is why it's not a symbiotic relationship. One's trying to dominate the other. And if you want to get into Avatar, we can talk about that. That's something different as well, similar but different.
You kind of piqued my interest with the mention of high technology, pre-Diluvian high tech. Is this something to do with, I seem to remember from years ago reading the book, would it be the offspring of Cain and Tubal Cain and that sort of lineage?
Well, that's where we get a kind of a historical aspect for this. And you get it in two versions, two main versions, but you have it understood in polytheism in different narratives in terms of the knowledge that the gods provide to humankind all around the earth, or the seven Satans, and particularly Azazel is the chief angel providing most of the illicit knowledge in the book of Enoch. So in the Bible, we have the descendants of Cain, who I mentioned are the ones who provide the daughters to the fallen angels to create the giants. So a relationship there with that rebellious line after Cain is ostracized from the family line because he killed his brother.
Yep.
And never forgives God for the ostracization. And now he starts to follow the pantheon of the gods. So he has a son named Enoch. Enoch is known in polytheism by multiple different names, very famous individual like Idris in the Quran, for example. He would be Hermes or Thoth, Hermes in the Greek accounting and Thoth in the Egyptian one. Adonis would be another version of it. And so this individual becomes a god through knowledge. So it's either a human or a demigod that through knowledge becomes this demigod. And so everybody can understand who we're talking about when we talk about Enoch or Hanok, as some people would take it out of the original Hebrew with the H on there. And so Cain goes to a place called Nod after being ostracized and builds this city for people that aren't explained, and then passes all of the knowledge that he has on to Cain. So in the Gnostic version, And in the secret societies, in their Polychronicon and other ancient oral traditions and writings, Cain, who passes knowledge on, gets an extraordinary amount of knowledge while still in Eden from God, because he's running a massive agricultural complex from the Euphrates River to the Nile River, from Mount Hermon to the Sea of Aqaba, Persian Gulf, Indian Ocean to the south. And there's just one of them. And when you take that, the wording back to the original Hebrew, he's raising massive amount of grass crops. He's raising orchards. He has massive amounts of domesticated animals that and there's just one of him. And God, in the story biblically, permits the creation of Eden to give him a helper, because no suitable helper could be found, which is kind of a strange um, wording as well, but he creates him from the rib. And so Adam, in the Gnostic accounts, received an incredible amount of knowledge to be able to do this on his own. And then when he leaves, he teaches all of this knowledge to Cain, who decides this needs to be organized. And he creates something called the 7 sacred sciences, which are the 7 liberal arts that we have today on, the university campuses. It's the same original ones. And out of this, they decide they're going to create a mystical religion with the knowledge that they're developing to keep it from the mundane, the Sethites, which is the other bloodline in the Bible. And so we see some of this knowledge being shown with Tubal-Cain as a master artificer. We also get other ones. I won't go through all the details on it, but there's 2 Jubals, just slightly spelled differently, and Nama, who was a common name that was used for a certain female that cavorted with fallen angels to create giants. Right. In the Gnostic tradition. So, but I'm just giving sort of the parallel. We have the Bible telling the same account through a monotheist lens, and the Gnostics telling it through a polytheist lens, and understand that secret societies use the religion of Gnosticism that we would understand in the last couple thousand years. And yes, does it include the other religions around the world when they use Egyptian allegory and Greek allegory and other things? Yes, because they believe it's the same ancient religion. It's just different sort of sects and different sort of countries. So this is the knowledge then that is going to merge with the knowledge of the gods, and is going to take it to a level that we're still catching up to today. And what's interesting in their account is that they know a catastrophe is going to be coming when the giants go rogue. Okay. And they don't know whether it's a catastrophe, a fire, or a flood in their story. And we know this because they put the directions to where they're going to hide the knowledge in an allegorical solar number, 36,525 books, stacked on 9 vaults, a polytheist important number for the number of realms in the other world. Okay. So it might be hidden interdimensionally somewhere, or where you'd have to have access to it interdimensionally, but they locate it underneath the Great Pyramid, which may have been some sort of portal or Stargate to keep the sort of flow of the information here. To be protected from this catastrophe from coming, they write the directions to where people can find this knowledge. And so they create one pillar that's designed to float, to survive a flood. They create another pillar that is designed to survive a destruction by fire.
Yeah, was one marble and one copper or something, or
well, there's
brass?
there's different names and different accounts. So that's why I go sort of generically that one can float, because you get different materials that are described and you don't know what the influence of different languages and cultures are and what those might be. Yeah. But you could also use those as the same sort of allegorical pillars that are used in Freemasonry to house the 7 sacred sciences as part of their legacy and are trying to develop, right? So that imagery is kind of what's important as they're weaving it into their story. And then this is the knowledge that Hermes, part of the Hermes Trismegistus, that Enoch would be part of, finds, and this is another Hermes that is going to find the pillars, obviously finds the one that floats, and then takes that knowledge to Nimrod at Babel. This is all out of the Gnostic accounts here.
Right.
So people are understanding where I'm coming from. But now we intersect back into a Babel account from the flood. And at the Babel account, Nimrod is initiating 1,000 masons to build Babel City and Babel Tower with the knowledge that Hermes brings him, and introduces the ancient, what I call Enochian mystical religion, same religion as Atlantis, or as we would understand it more through a secular lens with a name called Zoroastrianism before the flood, and also the religion of Zoroastrianism that crosses the flood. This is the religion that Nimrod introduces when he starts to rebel and follow the pantheon of gods versus the God of the Bible. And what's interesting is that in the Akkadian version, to shorten the story here, in the Akkadian version of the Tower of Babel, the word Babel does not mean confusion of languages as we get that out of the Hebrew. They have it as a compound word, Babal, or Babalu, I-L-U, which is a transliteration of A-L and E-L, only now in the Mesopotamian languages, which means an angel or a god, and Bab as a portal or a stargate. So
Wow.
now we get an understanding that this knowledge is what Nimrod is using, and when he's so-called building some sort of mud brick ziggurat or tower, how could it go interdimensionally or even get out of the atmosphere to go in and kill God if God got out of line again with another flood? Or was he going also wanting to maybe go into, because God lives in the dwelling of heaven, which is another dimension, but another dimension besides heaven is where the pit prison is where the parent gods who created giants before the flood and violated the laws were sent to be locked up. So is he wanting to go in there and release them? And we're also told in the same way that those parent gods were killed by the offspring gods in polytheism. You can't kill something that's immortal. So in this case, Baal kills Zeus, and I mean not Zeus, El, and Zeus kills Kronos, right?
Yeah.
But you can't kill them. But if they're not interacting in the world, they're like dead. But what also happens is the parent gods, mysteriously like Baal in the Ugaritic text, is killed as well. Again, you can't kill them, but they did the same crimes. He created the Rephaim giants after the flood, along with some of his other Baalim gods. So they're likely in the pit prison. And so they disappear shortly after the flood. Seemingly, as you link that in, and I'm speculating on this to connect the dots here, is that maybe it's those Baalim gods that are also in the pit prison that Nimrod would like to go into another dimension and let them back out as well, because those are the gods and the religion that he's worshiping. And so we have this technology that's kind of associated with Babel that comes from the Antediluvian account, according to the Gnostics. And we get a similar type of wording in the Babel account in the Bible, that acting as one language and one people, anything they want to do, they're going to be capable of doing. And as we look at Nimrod, how is he understood by the Gnostics and the secret societies? He is called the first grand master of masonry, who writes the first constitution for the secret societies after the flood. Okay, so we have this intersection of these peoples, just different details being added on from either monotheism or polytheism. And so how do we know biblically, for Christians who might be out there, that there was this technology? Well, we've just given a couple examples, but let's explore a little bit more. If there was an ability to destroy the world by fire, and biblically we have a passage in 2 Peter 3 that says, in the beginning, when the earth was in the water, out of the water, as it's talking about, which is not the flood, because this earth perished by fire, which is reserved for the end time, then the flood becomes an intercession to prevent the destruction by fire. And that the polytheists believe the world could be destroyed by fire. and that they would have had the technology, and they received this knowledge from the gods. So Azazel in the book of Enoch is teaching all of the arts and the crafts of war. And we take this, to the giants, and we take this as swords and things like that because we've been brainwashed with a narrative. But this is angelic technology that has planet destruction capability, just as that is shown in the rebellion of the gods in the Vedas. And it's destruction by fire. So again, we have all sorts of data points from religious accountings and mythology all around the world that's talking about an ancient war, that's also talking about a similar destruction in the end time, and a technology that they would have had. And that if they buried it in the Great Pyramid, this knowledge, then that wasn't built in 23 to 2400 BC by Khafre or Khufu. It was probably renovated, just as we see that 52.5 degree slope on the pyramid on the stela of Marna and Menes in the background, which is dated about 3000 BC. So even the secular records attest to the pyramids being before that. But again, that's not the narrative that we're taught. And if they could build the pyramids with masonry we can't do today, with giant blocks we can't adequately explain put into place, and a project that is massive, and if it was done on a ramp, which should be a larger project than the actual pyramid was, and then they somehow encoded this with sacred geometry of all sorts, celestial alignments, earth ratios, all sorts of other things, and they built other things around the earth in similar kinds of way, like pyramids, but cities like Machu Picchu and other locations we can't account for with the knowledge we have yet to catch up to. It's indicating there was some other knowledge there. Now, biblically, we're told this is the violence that caused the flood. Now we know the level, and that God intercedes or permits the gods to bring the flood, because in the polytheist accounts, it's the gods, the council of the gods, that bring the flood, not the God of the Bible. And most people don't know that because we're told God is the evil God of the Bible who brought the flood. But in their own accounts, they say their own gods brought the flood. So there's, but again, it's that polytheist lens. Now, biblically, we're also told that all flesh was corrupted as part of the reason for the flood. And all the earth was corrupted. That Hebrew word is shakath there, which means to pervert, to ruin, to decay, to pollute, to destroy, words like that. So if all flesh, that's all DNA. If plant genomes and plant part of the earth, on all the plant genomes. Well, we're doing DNA manipulation today, but not to that level yet. We're doing genome changes to plants, but not to that level yet, because we're still catching up. It's going to be like the days of Noah when we get to the end time, but we're still catching up to that angelic technology that was already in play. And so all of a sudden now answers the question, why would God call the animals to the ark, 2 by 2 for unclean, and 7 pairs for clean animals? Because he knew which ones were not corrupted with their DNA wasn't manipulated to restart after the flood. So things start to fall into place. But again, the flood is seeing reasons and outcomes a little bit differently, but it's talking about the same events.
Right, because I was always under the impression that in the traditional story, the flood was brought forth because of the Nephilim actions and because of their corrupting humanity.
Yeah, that's how the biblical story goes.
Right.
And the polytheist story goes is that the gods started off righteous, but became evil because of the flesh influence of the world as demigods, and became too evil and too violent. And the second reason, it's always an and in the polytheist side, is that the humans were too numerous and usually too noisy.
That's a common trope. Humans being noisy, causing trouble. There's a tale from Egypt, I think, isn't there?
Yeah.
Is it
it's all around the world.
The island of Elephantine?
Yep.
One of the gods on Elephantine, the humans were making too much noise and the god couldn't get to sleep, so he wiped them out.
Yep.
We've just got a reputation for being raucous, haven't we?
Yeah.
So, and again, even from the accounts that we can draw on as people form an understanding, we have to be careful that people aren't selecting information only relevant to a specific narrative that they want to push. So what I try and do is when I'm talking from a polytheist and a monotheist to say, here's what both accounts are talking about.
Right.
Understand the biases that it's written from, and then you decide.
We got a question from the chat here. Very interested in hearing anything regarding the throne. I've never heard this term before. Apparently it means neutral angels. Are you familiar with that, Gary?
What was that word again?
Throne, Trone.
Yeah, no, I'm not familiar with the term called throne. That would be neutral angels. But it is a possibility. So we don't know how many angels originally rebelled, or did some rebel over time? And that we know there's been a long period of time since the initial fall of Satan and then the original rebellion. And if there was a destruction of the earth, that's the gap theory for Christians, or the renewal of the earth in Genesis 1:1-2 that I sort of quickly sort of reference in relationship with 2 Peter 3. And so there's been a long period of time. But what we do know is by Revelation 12, from a monotheist perspective, 1/3 of the angels will have rebelled by then in the war in heaven.
Okay.
Now we get an allegorical number or an exact number of how many loyal angels there are at a certain point in time. And we first see it in the book of Daniel. So let's say 600 BC for a rough and dirty number. And a number repeated in the time of John, so first century AD, that around the throne in God is 10,000 times 10,000 loyal angels. That would be 100 million.
Wow.
So if a third rebels as a whole number, you could use 50 million or 33 million, depending on how you want to do the math on
Definitely
that.
33.
Yeah, but 33 would be the number of the secret societies.
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah. So whatever the number it is a large number. But again, are there ones that are still trying to decide what they want to do? Or was there a point where they all decided? We don't know that. So there could be a term for that. I'm not familiar with that. What we do know is the number, and by a third, whether it's a 100% accurate number or an allegorical number, because we're also told angels are uncountable. They're like the stars, and stars is a term for a god or an angel in polytheism or in monotheism. Stars are a common allegory for angels in the Bible, and 7 wandering stars, 7 days of the week. Probably is enough to explain that allegory. So it's hard to know whether or not there's still ones on the fence or not. But I don't find it implausible that there wouldn't be some on the fence for a period of time.
Right, that's what I need to look into. Throne. Never heard that term before.
No.
So I've got some homework from tonight already. Someone else has put in the chat, they were asking about the British giants. So Gog Magog is a piece of British myth. In Albion, yeah.
Yeah, those are the 3 main ones.
Again, is this a polytheistic interpretation of the Genesis story, do you think?
Yes and no. And let me sort of define that. So I mentioned a god earlier named Iapetus that was the god of the sea before Poseidon was. He's one of the parent gods that ruled with Kronos. He produced giants named Albion, Magog, and Gog before the flood. But we also get giants named Gog and Magog and Albion after the flood. But that's not unusual. So when I talked about Gilgamesh, he was 6th generation after the flood in the Sumerian accounts. Yeah. And we also have a giant named Gilgamesh in the Enoch Book of Giants. That's before the flood, and is killed in the flood. So just I just want to make those two examples, and you can also make a case. I won't go into all the detail, but you could use Hercules as a post-Diluvian giant, as the offspring of Zeus, the offspring god, and the human female Alcmene produced Hercules. But there's a Hercules also before the flood. And again, that's why you get a couple varying accounts as to what happens to Hercules in Greek mythology. So, and I won't go into all of the detail of that right now. So just sort of stay on track with the question. So after the flood, you have Gyges kings that ruled in Assyria, Anatolia or Asia Minor, in the Greek islands, and parts of Greece and up as far as Macedon, and probably even further. And these were known as Herculides kings. Yes, bloodlines of Hercules. And many of those kings were called Gog and Magog. And Gyges is the Greek word plural, as we would do it with it. You could spell it Gigas or Giges. The AS makes the G sound for Gygus, for giant singular. Gyges or Gyes is the plural form. And so these are giant kings, the Gyges kings, bloodlines of Hercules in the Creta gens. Creta is the gens from Zeus in polytheism in the Royales, originally KRT, Crete, which Zeus spent a lot of time on.
Yeah.
Right. And we can go back to the Ugaritic text where it's using KRT for the original Crete, and the Creta gens where they take that from. And again, these are dark-haired giants and all related to how kings were set up after the flood. So you have giants that are named after, you have giants after the flood who are named after giants created before the flood. And that's not uncommon that you would have a patriarchal succession of those names. And biblically, we get that with giants like Talmai. You have one Talmai that lived in the time of the Exodus and the conquest in the Hebron area, Kiriath Arba, and then another Talmai that is from Makkah at Mount Hermon in the time of David. Those names were generally not just as a patronymic, but a king title as well. So like Agag of the Amalekim giants in the time of the Exodus, in the time of Saul, and then Haman the Agagite, who is raised to the highest level of vassal kings in the Persian court at that time. And Agagite is just the plural of Agag, of the Agagite bloodline of Agag. And so Caesar is like that, like Caesar Augustus. It becomes a king's title. Pharaoh is a title. Right. And these are all likely names for those types of titles, as Gyges is a title for a giant king. And Gyges can also be part of the Gigantes as well. So again, and some people will say, well, Gigantes means earthborn, and that's the root for giant. Well, no, how that etymology works into English is we end up with giantes, the plural form of giants, for giant. And the source word for gigantic or giantes is gygus in Greek. So again, don't let people tell you part of the story. Always go a little bit deeper, and you'll know who's manipulating the information for a specific narrative.
Right, so we have rulers in ancient Persia who are sort of either directly related to or are claiming lineage from giants. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, well, and with the Tuatha De Danann and Scythian migrations, you're going to get those giants as part of those migrations, and particularly into Wales and in England for Gog, Magog, and Albion is where you take that back in terms of how they end up in England. And then the mythology becomes that these two giants are defenders of London, right? Gog and Magog.
Yeah. Right.
And
so we're having a post-flood migration from the Near East, from Anatolia, across Europe, and eventually landing in the British Isles. And that's where the sort of bloodline has migrated across.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Tuatha De Danann.
Yeah.
The Shea people, or Sede, or Seed.
Yeah.
The people of the tribe of the stars, the tribe of Anu. It's the assembly of the Datanu in the Ugaritic text. It's the transliteration of Titan as you go across languages. It's the same word. But Tuatha De Danann are the fair folk, and they were giants, absolutely, Scythians, Indo-Aryans, Indo-Europeans.
I'll pick another one up from the chat. Question, Gary, have you heard about Venus nearly hitting Earth? It was written.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was written. I don't know in what account it's written in. But Venus is interesting because Venus is not Satan, even though Satan's associated with Venus. Venus is typically a mother goddess, right?
Yeah.
And maybe even renamed at some point in time to reflect that mother goddess. But Satan doesn't have a counterpart, a consort. Polytheism has a consort. Even at the top of Gnosticism, you have Sophia with this nebulous sort of life force, right?
Right, yeah.
And so where does that sort of fit? Biblically, we get two Leviathans. One is the female that is killed in prehistory by God. This is the same story told all around the world, just so that people know I'm touching on the common history again, and it's Tiamat in the
Babylon.
Sumerian pantheon. Yeah. It is also known as Virta in the Vedas that Indra slays. It is the serpent that is killed by Marduk and Baal. And you have Lotan, Yam. You have the same versions all around the world. You have two of these in the Popol Vuh, and the female is killed. You have two in Norse mythology, and the female is killed. And it's all in this sort of prehistory. So what's interesting is in the Bible is we're told that the female is killed in prehistory, otherwise the world couldn't survive. The male is going to be killed in the end time. So this is a giant serpent type of being. And so one wonders whether or not biblically we're getting also an allegory for Satan and his consort, because he doesn't have a consort. But we had this Leviathan female killed sometime in prehistory. And as we talked about earlier, building on that, so if you buy into that, so to speak, that if there was a rebellion that was part of Satan and his consort, and the female is killed so the world wouldn't be destroyed, she isn't dead. She's in the pit prison.
Right.
And then Satan goes to the pit prison in the end time. Now, what's also interesting is we get a name called Rahab in the Bible. And it's used for females. Like Rahab is the spy that is helping Joshua from the city of Jericho in the time of the Exodus. And it's used a few other times. But Rahab is also a name for a Leviathan and a female name, also slain. So one deduces from that is that the female was named Rahab. And Rahab in its mythology was a planet that was destroyed. So when we look at the seven wandering stars, the seven main pantheons, we don't have eight, but eight's an important number, whether it represents Satan and his consort, or was there a planet that was destroyed because she was slain, because she was one of the main top gods.
Well, we have this asteroid belt, don't we? Between Earth and Mars, which some people speculate could have been a planet that was knocked out and destroyed.
Yeah, that's the explanation that people will, connect the dots. Now, I don't have research that I can prove that with, but I can certainly make.
You'd be a very famous man if you did, Gary. If you
yes, just so that people know. And I wasn't speaking to spiritual guides or anything like that. I'm just putting together information that we have that's a common history, and this interesting phenomena of this asteroid belt that we don't have a really good scientific logical reason for being there.
Right. So you're not worried about Venus hitting the Earth anytime soon then?
No, but Venus in that application is sometimes allegorized as this Nibiru planet out of Sumeria that Stitchin talked about, as a planet that would be coming in at the end time. So there are different names for this 12th planet. So we want to understand that. And but I do like the allegorical application of perhaps a Venus one, but I can't make anything stick with that. But Nibiru isn't really a planet. Now, I'm not saying there wouldn't be another planet, but people rely too heavily on Stitchin's translations. And of course, he was a Gnostic and a Freemason. No, not that they ever do agendas. So he took a little bit of liberty with naming this planet Nibiru because Nibiru isn't the Sumerian word for Earth. It's Nibiru Ki, and Ki is the Sumerian word for Earth. And the Nibiru is associated with Nibiru Ki.
Right.
And Nibiru means crossing or crossing over. So it seems to be, as you look at the text, because you have the gods ruling from Nibiru. How we understand this with the consistency of polytheism all around the world is all the gods ruled from the other world, from Hades, from Sheol, from Argarta, from Shambhala, from you name the name around the world, from Anwin, this other place that's in another dimension in the earth. So a crossing over from one dimension to another dimension is the relationship there. We get an interesting passage for the Christians out there biblically in Ezekiel 39 in the Gog War, Gog of Magog, chief prince of Meshech, just to throw some more intrigue in there, in this great war in the end time, that the mighty ones, Gibborim, are walking amongst the dead in here and amongst the dead of the Gibborim. And the term of the ones that are walking amongst the Gibborim dead is the word passenger or travelers as it's translated into the various Bibles. And that's the Hebrew word abar for crossing. Right. And crossing over, and is used in the Old Testament as an application for the crossing over into this other world. So again, we have this consistency to that understanding that we should expect, if there are aliens, we should expect interdimensional beings versus intergalactic beings. But the narrative will probably be intergalactic because they don't want us to have all of the information.
Let's get another question from the chat. Has Gary considered the giants being macrocosmic forces, having 6 fingers and toes? Hexagram compared to microcosmic forces, symbolic of the number 5, the pentagram. Gosh, that's a complicated question.
Well, it's all part of their religion, the wheel worship. I mean, those are all sacred geometries and relationships as demigods because they received the divine right to rule from their parent gods. They are superior to humans, being half human, half god. So one should expect that. Now, not all of the giants had 6 digits or 2 rows of teeth. Some did. There's distinctions amongst the kinds of giants. So we want to be a little bit careful with that. But biblically, we get 6 digits in a giant. Josephus has a parallel account of those 6 digits. We get those 6 digits in other archaeological discoveries around the world with giant bodies. So there was definitely some that did it, along with some who had 2 rows of teeth. We don't get that biblically, but we see the archaeology of some of these with 2 rows of teeth. So there seems to be something that is distinct amongst some of these giants, just as their heads were distinct. They weren't just our size, they were elongated skulls. And people say, well, you can get an elongated skull and bind a child at childbirth. Yeah. Yes, you can. And you can create this elongated look, but you can't increase the cranial volume. These are massive cone heads. And what you can't do with binding is get rid of the sutures. These are sutureless. This is something different, just as Josephus described their bones and the skeletons that were on display in his time as being completely different than humans. And they just left people in awe to look at. So once we start to move into things like hexagrams and pentagrams, understand the pentagram and the hexagram are probably the 2 most important symbols of polytheism and the wheel worship. and in terms of the two types of stars that they're using. And Azazel is associated with the pentagram, as an example. So again, I'm not a polytheist. I don't have unlimited knowledge of it, but I know what are symbols of their religion, and that the celestial mafia godfathers, as I like to call them, created the giants. So you would expect that type of connection within that religion to reflect their history. And when you look at the geometry that's associated with the hive, with the queen bee, and in the upper levels of Gnosticism, polytheism, it's the queen and the mother earth that is the higher of the two. It's not the parent, it's not the male god, it's the female goddess, like Sophia is. And they also believe, as in the hive mind, that they had in their original sort of state as gifts, that they had telepathic capabilities like the bees.
Wow.
And that as you start to do this allegory of the beehive, of the queen mating with the drones and producing the bees through these hexagonal designs within the bee, that these traits are being passed on. So it's an interesting sort of allegory that they think that they once had they had a telepathic capability. And the DeVere family, one of them who wrote a book, he talks about this, and he says, and within the bloodlines of the Anjou, who they believe go back to Anu as their parent god,
Right.
in their genealogies, they have a fleur-de-lis that's also sort of a superimposed and used either or with the bee in terms of the heraldry of their symbols. And that's to reflect that capability that they had, where when they worked with one mind, like at Babel, as what Nimrod was trying to do with his people, there was nothing that they couldn't do together. And I thought, that's just weird. Whatever they're talking about there, that makes no sense to me. But I also had this really weird 3 passages in the Bible I was trying to deal with, that in the time of the Exodus, God said he was going to fight against the giants, who the Royals say they had this hive mind capability back then. And one of the things that God said how he was going to fight for Israel is he would send hornets. And I thought, hornets, that's just bizarre, until I started to understand that the hornet was the natural enemy of the bee.
Wow.
So now the Israelites, who would be fighting giants and hybrid human and giants, that would be called the Shazu in the Egyptian accounts of the hybrids, they'd be 7 to 9 feet tall, versus the giants of the Bible, we could take them 10 to 14 feet tall, not quite to the size of Gilgamesh at 19 feet tall, but still 2-3 times the size of humans, even on the hybrid Amorites or the hybrid Horites, versus the Amalekim or the Horim or the Hivim or the Anakim or the Eni. I won't go through
There's
all
millions,
the different
yeah.
things. Yeah, there's lots of tribes involved here. They'd be able, because they're discombobulated and also starting to fight between themselves, because they've never been by themselves with no voices in their heads and not taking orders. You could walk up to them and take them out at the knees with the sword, and then take their head. And the thing you wanted to do was take the head, because if you didn't, they could heal themselves. So now you know why David took the head and showed everybody.
Yeah. So he had the old slingshot, didn't he? And then decapitation.
Killed him with the slingshot. He wasn't doing it for show.
No,
it was commonly understood. And the worst death you could have as a royale in prehistory was having your head taken off, because you wouldn't be able to get to where you wanted to be in the afterlife, in the other world with the gods. You're going to wander the earth as a demon spirit, a disembodied spirit of a giant, or you're going right to the pit prison as one of the terrible ones. Either way, that's not where you wanted to go. So they would take the heads of their enemies. It was very common all throughout prehistory. That's how you made sure they would stay dead. It would have to be a wound that they were not able to repair because it happened so suddenly. And what's interesting is I talked about two different kinds of giants in terms of nuances, in terms of the Raphaim and the Nephilim and the different kinds as nuances with the teeth and the 6 digits. While Baal had several names like Adad, Hadad, and Raphael, not spelt the same way as the angel Raphael in the book of Enoch, but slightly different. But Raphael means healer of God, or God heals. The root word for the Raphaim giant, 7497 in the Hebrew concords, is rooted in 7495 for Rapha, singular, Raphaim for plural. And Rapha means heal, to heal.
Right.
And so Rapha produces 7496 from 7495, which is the ghost spirit of the dead, the disembodied spirit, an evil spirit, a demon spirit, as we would understand it in the New Testament. KJV has them as devils. It should not be devils. It should be daemon in Greek, which it is in Greek, daemon, not devils, diablos, that's used for Satan. It's a bad translation. And those are the unclean and evil spirits that possess people. Why? Because they need a place of rest. Right? They didn't make it to the location. Rapha is defined as a ghost, 7495, an evil spirit, a demon spirit. We would also know that in the Old Testament as shed, for a different type of spirit. And that's SHED, and we would translate that as shade or seed or sede or the Shay people, right?
It's like from
As
Greece, isn't it? The shades.
Yes, and to the Tuatha De Danann, who are the Shay people.
Yeah. Wow.
Right? The seed people. And so shades is also translated in the KJV in the Old Testament as devil.
Okay.
Right? Twice, what it shouldn't be. It should have been an evil spirit.
They've thrown us some curveballs.
They throw us some curveballs in the translations, just as you have Satyr, a goat god, translated twice as devils in the Old Testament, but actually translated a satyr in Isaiah twice, in Isaiah 13 and 34. So again, they're not very consistent.
Yep.
They don't, and of course they didn't apologize for that either. They said, we don't apologize for the consistency or not of we did in terms of the translation. So they knew that they were doing different possible translations, but it would have been helpful if they were a little bit more consistent. So one of the names of Baal is Raphael, as we talked about, who produced the Rephaim giants in the Ugaritic text, RPM in the original Semitic, just as you would have NPL as original Nephilim. So the H is part of the evolution of the language, and the vowels are added as part of the evolution of the language. And so what's really interesting for what I found in my research, trying to learn more about the Bible, is that the Ugaritic text was original Semitic languages, which Hebrew was a Semitic language, and then the Old Hebrew is almost identical.
Wow.
So I can take words like GBR, which was a tribe of giants in the Ugaritic text, to the Bible as the source word for Gibor and Gibborim. Right. I can take RPM, transliterated by some translators as Rapiu or Rapayam without the H, to Raphaim or Rapha in the Bible for the same meanings. And we get the tribe of giants listed in Genesis 14 as Raphaim and Genesis 15 as a tribe of giants in Genesis 15. So they're listed as a tribe as well. And so what's interesting also in the Ugaritic text is these giants, which were all members of the assembly of the Datanu, and the D and the T were interchangeable, like Adon and Aten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Same God, just different spelling. And Datanu could be Dadan in the Bible, just again, using the D and the T, or two T's as in Titan, right? And Datan, you drop the U from the Ugaritic part of the language, and you have Datanu, right? And which is very close to Dadan, as in Tuatha Danu, that the Anjou say is the name for Tuatha De Danann, and the tribe of the people of the stars, or the tribe of the people of Anu, however you want to define that. So this was the assembly of the giants that were the offspring of the Baalim council at Mount Hermon. Again, same as the council of the gods and the council, the ring lords of Nippur, and any other polytheist version you want around the world. They're telling the same story both before and after the flood, but they're described as being able to heal themselves and others in the Ugaritic text. So it's used in their application for their royal bloodline. It's used in the application for them as a warrior and a giant and as a healer.
Wow. You've mentioned the Anjou family twice now, and I'm guessing they must be quite significant. One thing I know they are famous for is being instrumental in founding the Crusades and the Templars.
Yeah, they were very, very influential in that. And the kings of Jerusalem started that.
Yeah, once the Holy Land was taken back, yeah.
Yeah, and what most people don't know is that that King of Jerusalem title that was started technically in 1118 with Baldwin II.
Yeah.
It actually, the Bullion is the first ruler, but he doesn't exactly receive the king title just as a ruler. Then his brother is Baldwin I, but isn't crowned as king of Jerusalem, but just, same authority, but not that sort of official title. And so the official one is taken with Baldwin II, Anjou. The Paean of the Templars and the Bullion were also Anjou of the Lorraine region. And the folk of Anjou, who becomes King Baldwin II, is their cousin, and they're all Anjou out of the Lorraine region. But there's other Anjou. You have the Anjou that were in Hungary. You have the Anjou that formed the Savoy kingships of Italy. And this title has special title of a dragon messiah type of individual for the kingdom of heaven, as the movie called itself, in terms of talking about these kings and their bloodlines, is on earth and is an allegory for the dragon messiah for the end time. And that this title has been passed down to various kings. It went to Hungary, then back to the Lorraine region, then to the von Habsburgs. You get the Habsburg-Lorraine dynasty. That's when that transfer happens through a female because there wasn't a male heir to continue that on at the time in the Lorraine region. And a new dynasty is always started with a pure blood female of bloodlines. And then it went over to the Bourbon family of Spain, first with Juan Carlos, and today King Philippe is the current King of Jerusalem title.
Wow. You said dragon kings. I just immediately think of Pendragons. I think King Arthur.
Yeah.
Again, I'm thinking of Anglesey
Sure.
and the rulers of the mythological rulers of the British Isles from, after the Romans left.
Yeah, so King Arthur is the son of Uther Pendragon.
Yep.
So King Arthur is a Pendragon as well. His genealogy is Tuatha De Danann,
Yep.
a giant. His wife is a fairy queen and a matriarchal bloodline, Guinevere. And notice that name there in at the end, that the Anjou take their family bloodlines back to, and understand also that the Plantagenet is a junior offshoot of the Anjou.
Right.
Okay, and that they take their bloodlines, the Anjou, back to the Angevin and the De Vere, who take their bloodlines back from the Tuatha De Danann Picts of Scotland, back to the migrating tribes that came out of Sumeria.
Do you think Edward de Vere was the original author of Shakespeare then? Is he involved in the grand conspiracy?
Well, I would imagine what they did there would take more than just bacon. Yes. So using a double entendre there.
Wow. So we have these this bloodlines cross from the Near East and Anatolia across Western Europe, and then sort of started to work its way back to retake the Holy Land over 2,000 years.
Yeah, they're trying to bring about the end time, and they're always trying to bring about the end time, and they want to bring it about before the ordained time, as we would call it from a monotheist perspective. They want this encounter with God and his loyal angels and to win the freedom away from God finally for the physical world and to establish the new Atlantis on Earth, beginning with their
Back to Bacon,
1,000-year reign.
the new Atlantis.
Yes. Well, and Rosicrucian. He was Rosicrucian,
Yep.
you know, and second most powerful individual for Queen Elizabeth and King James, the Unicorn Dynasty. And he was a very high level of individual, also connected to the Priory of Sion as well. And so in book 2, like book 1, I mentioned the Priory of Sion a little bit, but I was shocked that people were falling into the narrative that it didn't exactly exist. And they said there's no historical records for it. So I figured I'm a contrarian. So you know what? I'm going to put all the historical records into book 2.
Right.
And it's there. I mean, you have many, many sources from the Catholic encyclopedias to William of William of Tyre has great accounts on it. And then you have Gnostic writings that are from 300-400 years ago that document the same kind of history. So I take all of these different sources and I have I don't know, 3 or 4 chapters just to walk through the development of that King of Jerusalem title I talk about in book 1 to add more to it. But to definitely show all of the references to the Priory of Sion. And Sion is, there's 2 different crownings of the ancient inheritance rights, which is really important to sort of understand the history of the Templars and this Priory of Sion order, which is the senior order of barons that elect the kings of Jerusalem.
Okay.
And they developed the junior order in 1118 by making Hudipan the leader of the junior order of the Templars. Even though there was Templars before, there was just one. And then you have the senior orders of the barons that become the Priory of Sion.
Oh, right. So Hugh of Pan is just a front man as the head of the Templars. There's another layer above him. Yes.
And that's not unusual. Even today in secret societies, you're going to have a Club of Rome that has lower level people of, you know, like Pierre Trudeau of Canada was part of it for a while. Low-level bloodlines, but then you're going to have senior members of the bloodlines at the top, or better known today might be the Bilderbergers that summon all of the new money bloodlines who want to intermarry in to a meeting once a year with the royals of Europe, and then they go back with their marching orders. That's not an unusual organizational structure to the secret societies, a junior and a senior order. So and I won't go through all of that, but just to give a couple of examples.
You mentioned about the end times that they want to bring about so that they can sort of assert a dominance of the physical realm of Earth. Like, what would you say? A mastery over the material realm. Yeah. The defeat of death, an end to the spiritual. I mean, this sounds totally transhuman to me.
Well, it is. It's everything that we're talking about that they want to bring about. And there's a religious and government structure they want to overlay onto that. But essentially, to get there, you have to do it through knowledge. Gnosticism is rooted in the Greek word gnosis for knowledge. Polytheism is this knowledge religion, always has been, always will be. And they always want to develop this knowledge. And it merged with the illicit knowledge of the angels or the gods as we got closer to the time of the flood, just as our knowledge is ramping up significantly. So to understand that they control the soul and the body of the physical world, they want to be able to offer godhood in the physical world. They can't offer it in heaven, but they can offer it in the physical world. And one deduces they have the ability to even maybe offer it through into the other world, where, you know, in Sheol or Hades or the other world. By the historical documents where giants used to go back and forth between these dimensions somehow, some way. So either through a technology or the physical body is permitted in that dimension, but not in the heavenly dimension where God dwells. So they can offer godhood in the physical world. So that means they have to do two things in their belief system. A God is made up of unlimited knowledge and immortality. So you have to provide some sort of unlimited knowledge along with a body that doesn't die or is replaceable, that you can have your spirit or your consciousness, as they put it, and go into another sleeve or something, as Altered Carbon series sort of talked about with that sort of allegory. But that's kind of what they're talking about to make you a physical God. But they're also going to have to supply unlimited knowledge. And the only way you can do that is to tap into the knowledge of the universe. And how you do that is through putting people in touch with the divine essence in the New Age, the Brahma in the Vedas, and to have this knowledge flow through to you. So like if you are doing yoga, the ultimate state is to become in contact with the divine essence. That's the mother goddess.
The Kundalini,
the allegory.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sophia. Sophia means wisdom, right? Knowledge. And Sophia is the chief mother goddess. And philosophy is the love of Sophia. Philosophy is the theology of the so-called secular education that names everything after their pantheon of gods and their heroes and their history. Right? Just understand we live in a sea of polytheism, whether you think you're secular or not, you're just being manipulated. You need to understand why you believe what you believe and who's actually running things. So this knowledge has to come from somewhere. And in the Vedas, they tap into the idea of quantum mechanics and understanding in terms of the theory. And the first people who are developing quantum mechanics, they were told to study the Upanishads and certain Vedas to get the concept. Otherwise, you'd get lost in what they were trying to sort of conceive. And that's interdimensional math, right?
Oh, what was
Or
it? Was it
simple-
Werner von Braun when the first A bomb went off? He quoted the Mahabharata, didn't he?
Yes, it did.
I
Yeah.
have become
They-
death,
they-
destroyer of worlds. So he's obviously
Yeah,
was
Shiva.
it one von Braun
Shiva
or,
Mitra is
or
Azazel.
Oppenheimer?
Well, it was in the film.
Oppenheimer said
Was it in the
that, yes.
Oppenheimer film?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So understand there's a relationship here as people try and get into these great concepts. So they're marrying up AI with quantum computing to search in multiple locations and multiple dimensions at one time, because quantum technology is like a rifle shot. They need more of a shotgun approach to be more efficient. So they're lining that up, with places like CERN. And so what they're looking for is supposedly, as the story goes, to be able to find out how the big explosion first took place to start the universe, right? That's what they're looking for. Some people say they're looking for the God particle. Well, they have different names for what that might be. Well, that's just all to keep us sort of happy, right? Just say, okay, they're just doing science. They're trying to do things interdimensionally with that technology. And so in the Vedas, there's something that they call the Atma, ATMA particle, or the Atman. It's spelled two different ways, also understood as possibly the Brahman. And depending on which English translation you're getting, that's why I say that. I'm sure I know they have a preferred one within the religion and the language, but I'm reading English ones and I'm just telling the ways it was translated. So this is a particle that's invisible. So in the quantum level, you can't really see anything because it's so small, but you can measure what they can call something that is visible. You can measure it. But this particle you can't measure, and they call it invisible. And what it does is it merges with a particle that could be measured. And it is the source of all knowledge, the divine essence. And through quantum entanglement, sends this knowledge instantaneously through all dimensions and universes at one time, which is what they would want to be able to tap into that divine essence. So that's the implant system that the Davos community has been trying to get downloaded since about 2017. But the silly scientists haven't developed AI far enough yet to get to that system that they want to introduce through the healthcare system. So, so as we understand that, this would provide the knowledge through that neural link, this symbiotic relationship of AI and humans to provide all of this knowledge to recreate the new hive mind. And now you have the other aspect for the immortality. So now what's really interesting is most people think that they named CERN because of it's a European science organization, and that's how they came up with the acronym. We're so silly. We don't ask the hard questions. Are there words out there that would spell CERN or be pronounced Kern? It's actually both. And you can find that in the language of the giants, in the language of Indo-European, Indo-Iranian or Aryan, and Sanskrit. Just as you can get like Mitra, which would be equated with Shiva, and understand that Mithra or Mitra is the same god as Azazel is, and is our destroyer gods that destroy the earth by fire that Azazel was trying to do before the flood that we talked about. So bear with me here as I knit this together. Okay. So in Indo-European languages of the giants, of the Tuatha-De-Danann, the Scythians, the Old Persians, the Aryans of the Indus Valley. There's 5 different groups of Indo-Aryans after the flood. Some people say 4, just for the record. There is a word, CERN, and also spelled KERN. So you might see, like, as it comes through the Greek, like, and again, however you want to pronounce Asclepius or Asclepius, or different ways to do the pronunciation of the word. Notice the difference between the K sound and the C sound. That's not unusual. So like in Hebrew, you get, as I said earlier, Q-E-R-E-N pronounced with a K sound, Keren for horn. CERN or Kern means horn in Indo-European, but not just horn. It means a horn-headed, tripping over my tongue today a lot, a horn-headed god.
Oh my God.
Well, what's a horn-headed god?
Bull.
It's a goat god.
Oh, got it wrong. I thought it was a bull.
Yeah, it's a goat god. Just as Azazel was originally seraphim reduced to goat god status, just as Satan was some sort of higher level of angel with different attributes, also reduced to a goat-like sort of imagery and status as a Satan. And Azazel was one of the 7 Satans, as the main right-hand man of Satan in the book of Enoch. So this is the god of the secret societies who provide all of this illicit knowledge that they worship. But the Templars don't call him Azazel in their worship. What do they call him? Baphomet, Agio Icarus, the holy strong angel, right? Which is Azazel. Icarus means mighty angel in Greek in the New Testament. So how do we get there? Well, you could take a B and a P and use some transliteration to get there and get Papa Mitra. And I'm sure that's what happens with the Baphomet as we do the transliteration. But people would say, well, but now you're just speculating because you built some other letters that were going back and forth. Well, we can take it back to Indo-Aryan as Bapo Mitra, which means Father Mitra. And Mitra means a bond or alliance, just as the Antichrist is Lord Maitreya in the Gnostic version, transliteration of Maitreya, who creates the covenant of the last 7 years. So they're worshiping Father Mitra as their chief god in secret. And he's the destroyer god who comes out of the pit prison in the end time.
Hence the Mithraeum always being underground in Rome. And I'm sure we could spend several hours more, Gary, talking about Mithraism and Rome and the Roman Church and that whole transformation of the early church into what we have today in the Vatican.
Yeah, well, just quickly, we can do it. I do it in about 30 seconds. And all right, doing all the detail. So understand Mithraism of Rome is a branch of Zoroastrianism. because Mithra is one of the main gods of Zoroastrianism, right? So Mithra is going to be used just as a Persian Empire about 200 BC did to unite the Persian Empire. He reinstituted Zoroastrianism, which was the religion of the old Persian kings as well.
Yeah.
But he used that as a state-sponsored religion to unite the empire. So that's what's going to happen with Constantine. He's going to take Christianity and Mithraism and bind them together to create a state-sponsored religion to unite the empire. And you're going to see the imagery of Sunday, which is the worship day of Mithra. The birthday of Mithra is December 25. The black garbs of Mithraism are the garbs of the fathers. The priests were called fathers in Mithraism. The Bible tells us only to call God Father. God called God Father. I want a separation there to not to use like a Godfather mafia type of individual. And all sorts of things are merged into Christianity to unite the empire so that everybody can say, hey, there's a piece of this in there for me. So yes, there's a strong line there back to the original Zoroastrian, that is the religion of the giants, both before and after the flood, and the religion of Babel.
Cool. Well, Gary, we've blown well over time.
Yeah.
There's more questions in the chat, but you're going to have to come back another time and we'll carry on, in the future.
So much information to take in.
Yeah, well, we could take a couple more questions from the chat if there's a few.
Yeah, if you have time, we can do. Where are we up to?
If you want,
we'll do that.
I mean,
We'll do
second one up, isn't it?
Yeah, second one up. Has Gary looked into the? I'll have to spell this. Deste family. So that's D. Is that apostrophe ESTE? The Deste family.
Oh yes, so
elongated head paintings.
Yeah. So they are a merge, sort of bloodlines of the Anjou.
What period? Where are we talking geographically and temporally?
Yeah, Middle Ages.
Middle
Ages, where you see them close to the ruling kings and intermarriage of the bloodlines there.
Right.
So, yeah. So and the other bloodline that they would be intermarrying would be the Norse bloodline from Odin, through Rollo, who changes their name to the St. Clairs, which becomes the Sinclairs of Scotland, and who the De Bruces come from as well as part of that bloodline, and part of that sort of intermarriage. And so in Normandy is kind of in that area and in around that zone. So yes, they would be, at one time, they were a very, very influential royal bloodline.
Right, so they were around contemporaneous with the Sinclairs. Amazing.
Yeah.
From
and older than
Roslin
that.
Chapel.
Yeah. Roslin, where you have Azazel hung upside down with this rope in an S or a Z and the pearls of wisdom.
Wow. Gary, do you know about the giants buried in mud and had turned to stone?
Well, it's common in some accounts in prehistory of giants being created from stone, and then at the time of the flood being turned back into stone. But I don't have anything that's super deep on that. It's just that there's a relationship there in some of the cultures around the world, and mostly sort of in the New World, like mostly either in the South Pacific and into Central America, and places like that where you get those kinds of accounts. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the relationship is, but I also found it interesting in the last Noah movie that they had fallen angels shown as stones, right? So, and chained to stones, and they're helping to build the ark. So the accounts within the pit prison out of the book of Enoch has angels being chained to stones, and so there might be sort of some imagery in there, and that those angels associated with being in the pit prison, the terrible ones, as we would call them biblically in Ezekiel 32, for doing terrible things to humankind, when they killed, they went directly to the sides of the pit prison, along with where their celestial mafia godfathers were located in the middle. So there may be a relationship there, that those ones that are said to be returned to stone are kind of dead-like, but an allegory for that relationship with the fallen angels chained to stones in either the pit prison or some polytheist accounts as chained in Orion.
Wow, cool. Before we go, Gary, could you tell us a little bit about the Nephilim bloodlines that have survived to this day and which characters we need to be watching with great interest in the modern world?
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of get influenced by the Western European bloodlines, but understand there's other bloodlines around the world.
Okay.
So the dragon creator gods in Southeast Asia created the Shah XIA dynasty, and the Western branch line of that is the Shi bloodline, which we have a Shi back on, kind of like the kingship in China again. So there are bloodlines around the world, and we don't want to get too sort of Western specific about that, knowing that there's bloodlines of the Incas, there's bloodlines of the Aztecs. People think that they were wiped out when the Spanish and the Portuguese invaded. They only wiped out the original kings. By 1525, all of those families were reinstated with their royal status and pedigree and started intermarrying with some of the European bloodlines. So understand that there's bloodlines that may be still working behind the scenes that aren't visible, but some of the main ones obviously have to include the Anjou.
They're still around today?
Yeah, they're still around today. So,
Okay.
And so we want to include them in their junior offshoot. The Plantagenet is but again, that's the same bloodline, so might be rivals within that same bloodline, just as they have three claims to the King of Jerusalem title. One by the von Habsburgs, one by the Savoy, and the current holder of the King of Spain, King Philippe Bourbon. So I would keep an eye on them. You also have to look at King Charles, who has some significantly ennobled bloodlines, is on record as saying he is descended, at least in part, through the Hanover relationship of Germanic kings in the intermarriages of Europe or Europa of that time, back to Vlad Dracula.
yeah,
right?
Vlad the
Son of
Impaler, yeah.
And Dracula means son of a dragon, right?
Right, yeah.
As part of the House of Dragon. And in Greek, the word for a watcher angel is Dracont and Draconta, which is the source word for Dracul and Dracula, a meaning a son of a dragon with the a on the end. And so Vlad is this noble Celt, noble Tuatha De Danann, who King Charles is said to take his genealogy back. And then the Draculeschi bloodline and a couple other families that are intermarrying as you're in that time period of, is going to take their bloodlines back to the Agrathi tribe of the Scythians. And through that tribe is an intermarriage that goes back to another family associated with an angel named Tamiel, also thought to have the name of Kazadea, which is one of the angels in the book of Enoch that rebelled. But the other line goes back to Hercules, who creates that as one of his offspring tribes, who is part of the Credigens through Alcmene and Zeus. So they have ennobled bloodlines. They also have a lot of Norse bloodlines intermarried with the Windsor family as well. So I would keep an eye on them as well. Never rule out some of the strong men like Putin, who is in his own self-made mythos, real or not real. He believes he is part of the Putianin bloodline, and people may not be familiar with that, but that's where he receives part of his name. And the Putianin bloodline is the bloodline of the original czars who set up Vladimir Putianin in 1000 AD, who Putin has a statue of and honors as, one of the greatest Vlads. Understand, Vlad is a kingly title, right, as Vladimir, and Amir is also a kingly title as well, as you take that etymology back. But keeping on with Putin, he was on record with Putin was on record saying on the Tucker Carlson show that he wanted just to put back the Romanov Empire. And if you look at the Romanov Empire at its greatest sort of level, it included Kiev.
Yeah.
So that's what he's trying to do, because he believes his great grandfather was an illegitimate child born in around 1850. Some accounts are great grandfather. The ones that I have show grandfather, which either way, it's just one more generation. It's not a big deal. And that when they had wedlock outside the royal family, in the tradition in Kiev is that you would receive part of the name, but not the full name. And you would receive money, be part of the aristocracy, but not part of the royal family, so to speak, because you're illegitimate. So his father moved to St. Petersburg just before World War I, which is how he ends up there. So if people think he's going to stop before he gets Kiev, his holy city, then
they've got another thing coming.
They have another thing coming. And Kiev was started by Scythians, and Tuatha De Danann, just a eastern variety of those Indo-Europeans, so giants, where that bloodline sort of flows back through.
It's funny. I've been reading
lots of names to be aware of. So
I've been reading about these globalist sociopaths having their last holdout place. I think is it Afghanistan? Not Afghanistan.
Is it Azerbaijan?
No, not Azerbaijan.
Uzbekistan,
maybe? Somewhere in like prime Scythian country.
Yeah, I've heard about this. And it has weird architecture,
this
doesn't it?
city that looks like a futuristic, oh my gosh. Where's Borat from?
Kazakhstan,
I think it's Kazakhstan.
Yeah, no, I can't quite remember the city, but yeah, they have all sorts of strange architecture. But expect more of those centers to pop up around the world, because they're all rivals. You might be familiar with that old TV and movie series, The Highlander. There can only be one. So there's a rivalry. They take their heads. They're using a matriarchal allegory of the bloodline of the fairy and the owl versus the dragon, patriarchal and raven bloodlines of the male side. So, but it's the quickening in there, which was one of the keys, which is an allegory for the blood substance as well, where the life comes from, right? So,
what's the name of the antagonist in Highlander? Is the
You should know this. You're the expert.
Oh my gosh, he's from like one of these famous horse tribes. Kurgan, the Kurgan.
Yeah. Well, the whole imagery is Scythian as you look at it, or Indo-Aryan. So these are immortal giants, right?
Yeah.
The only way you can kill them is take their head off.
Yeah.
And the one who wins at the end is the dragon Messiah. So
it's right there in front of us, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in plain sight. Yeah. Well, I look forward to the remake.
Well, so we want to be careful. So we want to be careful picking Antichrist type figures, because there's going to be many Antichrists, and Antichrist, even in the polytheist accounts, as their true Messiah, has to defeat another Antichrist figure. But biblically, we're told there's multiple Antichrists. So look for the 10 kings coming to form this world government, the new Atlantis of 10 kings, as Daniel 2, 7, 9, 12, Revelation 12, 13, and 17 counts up for us. Look for them to be bloodlines of the royals and the giants, at least half of them for sure, at least 5 of the 10, probably all of them, but it's hard to know. You could have some strongmen operating in some regions for convenience, but look for them to have some sort of ancient pedigree.
Well, this has been really cool, Gary.
Yeah.
I think we should let you go, but it's been totally fascinating, and
there'll have to be a part 2, won't there?
Yeah, and I'd like to, maybe next time when you're free, to go more into sort of the prophecy thing, because I think that would be like
that's always fun,
a nice addendum.
And I just want to leave people on, because I talked about this ancient sort of technology, and this will be the last little story I tell. So we get a hint at this technology in modern times, and we have lots of things we can look at, but this is just something that is just staggering. And understand that Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State for part of the ISIS-Iraq war, right? Oh, sorry, I said that. You might get taken down now.
No, we don't care.
Yeah, or delete that word. I try and keep that out. It slipped out. So understand there's a FOIA request that comes out of the Hillary Clinton office, and it's FOIA number F-2019-02110. And this is absolutely astonishing. And this is what I pulled it off of from the government website. And then I got it in a clear form here so I can actually see it better. And here's the request. I can't tell you what they sent her, but I can tell you what they asked for. And this is just absolutely stunning when we think about angelic technology. Requesting documents pertaining to the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the location of his body, and the location of other buried Nephilim. Okay, so resurrection chamber, we don't have that technology today.
No.
And a resurrection chamber means, if you take it to its fullest meaning, you bring somebody back from the dead. So unless there's some damage done that can't be repaired to do that, this is going to bring them back to life. And so whether or not this was created because they lost their ability to heal themselves, or they were using technology and their own capabilities, this is technology that the U.S. government has as classified. And then it came out that it could be FOIA requested. But why would they want to know the location of his body and other buried Nephilim? You would only want the bodies for DNA.
Okay.
So that you can create new giants or hybrid giant warriors for warfare, or to somehow create a new Jurassic giant Nephilim park to bring back them as rulers, as demigods. I mean, why else would you want to, why would you want to know about their locations? Probably because somebody as powerful as Hillary has access to be able to go there.
Yeah, and pull them out. And we've got the war on terror as a perfect excuse for some incursions, haven't we? Some surgical interventions. Dig up a few Nephilim out on the Black Hawk before anyone knows about it.
Yep. So at the highest powers of our governments, they know this stuff, and we have no idea how far they've developed things. But be very careful when they come out on this disclosure thing on aliens. They're going to control the narrative as they always have.
Yeah. Well said. Right, Gary, I think we'll leave it there, but thanks very much for joining us.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It was fun.
Yeah, it was good. It was a blast, and hopefully we'll do it again further down the line.
Definitely.
All the links are in the show notes if you want to follow up with Gary's website, buy his books. They come highly recommended. By yours truly. I've even got one here. Well thumbed.
Yes.
Well thumbed and read. So, thanks, Gary. Really appreciate it. And we'll drop you an email tomorrow with all the links and stuff on, just for your own perusal.
Terrific, and I'll get it up on my media.
Cool. Really appreciate your time. Me and Matt are going to hang around. We're going to take a quick break for 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes.
Housekeeping, maybe?
Yeah, we'll do a bit of housekeeping. But, yes, thanks for joining us, chat. Thanks for your great questions. And thanks, Gary, for joining us.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Okay. See you soon.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.
That's working.
Yeah, that's working. I don't know if the audio works on the clip.
Well, people know it off by heart now, don't they?
They should do. They should do.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, let's get the itinerary.
There's an itinerary.
Well, no, it's not really.
Not at this time in the evening, surely.
No.
We've barely time to
They're out.
say we're back.
Yeah, there's barely time. I don't think there is time to say that, to be honest.
No.
I've literally just sat down and put the faders up and you jump in the shark.
I just thought you would have had it there ready. And we...
God, Jesus, perhaps for like 10 seconds while I get my shit together.
Back. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That one doesn't work. That's corrupt. Is this, when it says that it's full, this PC?
And we're back.
The cripple and the
mother of mindfulness.
Do we do that again?
Yeah, you can do if you want.
And we're back.
The dwarf, the cripple, and the
mother of mindfulness.
That was our chat with Gary Wayne, author of the Genesis 6 Conspiracy.
Yeah. What a knowledgeable young man he was.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So much knowledge for someone who's only 30.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is what it is, isn't it?
Because they say what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he looks like you could ask him any question and he would have the answer.
Well, he did say, I'm up for anything.
He did,
just ask me,
So that's what I put in the chat and that's what we got. And that's what we like to see, isn't it?
It's like, come on, show me what you got, Gary.
Show me what you got.
So I've got this.
Good job.
Good job.
Isn't he not there? That's what he says after he goes, good job. No, it's fine.
You're embarrassing yourself.
I only have room for so many,
I like what you got. Good job.
Us not.
Yeah.
I've only got room for so many, stings on the roadcaster Mark Un.
Yeah, so Sigma level
Based
clips.
Based Sigma Chad.
Sigma
Right.
Chad clips. Just fewer than, fewer than the roadcaster 2, but I hope that I garner your respect for my prowess on the pads.
Rumboy, respect.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say so.
Good.
I'm the whore of Babylon.
So yeah, good links in the show notes for Gary's stuff. If you want to check in with what he's doing. And
Yeah. He's got part 2 out, hasn't he?
yeah, I've not read it. It's been out for a couple of years, and I've neglected to buy it and read it.
It looks like a dense tome.
Oh, it's massive. Genesis 6 is massive. It's over 600 pages, man.
Yeah.
This is all the footnotes, but
And
there it is, 692 pages, man.
and it's not a large text either, is it?
It's medium, I would say.
Medium text.
Sized font.
Yeah.
So yeah. So there you have it.
Mm.
I went to Sheep Farm Live yesterday.
You did, didn't you?
At Thuddersfield.
Oh, it's in Thuddersfield, is
Just
it?
outside Thuddersfield.
Right, okay.
Alpine Manor Hotel.
Oh, going up in the place, in the world.
It's
The
funny.
place of the world.
You drive down Scapegoat Lane, something like that, and it just gets the esoteric juices flowing, the old scapegoat. The story of the scapegoat, where it comes from, why we use the term scapegoat. It's a biblical term.
Because of the Passover?
Well, it's letting the goat free. You kill one and let one escape.
Oh, right.
And
Okay.
all your sins are cast upon the escaped goat.
Right, I see.
So it's like a cleansing,
Right.
ancient Hebraic cleansing ritual.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's down Scapegoat Lane.
Right, okay.
Thortel.
Yeah.
And what do we have? We had a Sheep Farm Live podcast, which was hilarious.
Right.
Really funny. They had they opened with some childhood photos of Dom and Chris, and they were priceless.
Okay.
Like 6-year-old Dom, he looked like fucking James Brown.
Feel good.
It was great. We had that, and then we had a piss break, and then Mark Devlin did a an hour or so on his sort of musical truth stuff, going through different music genres and how they're co-opted generally by military intelligence.
Are they?
Yeah, just designed basically from the ground up. They're all actors. I played that clip of Tupac, haven't I? From when he was 18.
Right. Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
When
it's
he was
not the guy
auditioning.
from California Love.
Yeah.
You know, these guys are planted.
Yeah.
And he went through grunge and the old Chris Cornell and...
Chris Cornell? We can't even have Chris Cornell.
No, he's well. It might didn't say, but the insinuation is that like Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington were good guys
Oh, right. Okay.
who were taken out.
Really?
They were making a documentary about child abuse in the music industry
Were
before
they?
they both committed suicide.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to say that word on YouTube, but I don't care. What word was Gary worried about saying? Was it ISIS?
ISIS, yeah. The jewelry shop in
Preston?
Preston Town Centre, yeah.
Or the ancient goddess? ISIS. I think you can say ISIS on YouTube.
I don't know, maybe it's a word that was in the past red flagged.
Gauche. Right.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe it's fine now because we won, didn't we?
Who created ISIS, man? That's another
Yeah.
intel job. Military intel job.
Mm-hmm.
So war's a racket.
Exactly.
So we had Devlin. Devlin did a bit. And then we had T, I think. Did we have T after that? And then John Hamer and Andy Ross did a presentation all about Antarctica.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, he started with
What's beyond the wall then?
oh well, speculation. Nothing but speculation. I mean, we have what would you say? Not anecdotal. Admiral Byrd from the U.S. Navy, when he claimed about lands of grass and stuff beyond the wall and stuff.
Okay. Well, no, I was
In
thinking
the
the Piri
50s.
Reis. Is it called Piri Reis map?
Piri Reis map. That's going back to the Middle Ages, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know the way that it's drawn on there, and I think there's some evidence, isn't there? If you got rid of the ice, that's what it would look like.
Oh right, yeah. So you're talking about a founding or a charting of Antarctica pre the age of exploration,
Yes.
pre when it was supposed to have been mapped.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did a bit of character assassination on Amundsen and Scott.
Right.
The guys who were famous for
South Pole.
reaching it and
Right.
how they were basically philanderers and maybe not characters to be trusted.
Really?
And so that throws into question your preconceptions of what we're told about Atlantis, because it all goes back to them, basically.
Atlantis?
That Atlantis, Antarctica, same thing. Yeah, and then you've got that naval Admiral Byrd, who went there several expeditions in the, I think, starting in... Oh, there was Operation High Jump. That's one of the ones he's famous for. That was probably to hunt down the Nazis that escaped to Antarctica after World War II.
There's Nazis on Antarctica.
Yeah, because they need to find Atlantis. They're after the
Right, okay.
forbidden tech,
Right,
presumably.
okay. The, what did Gary just say? From the email.
Resurrection machine.
Resurrection chamber.
Resurrection chamber.
Yeah.
Maybe they had one down there
That's what I mean, yeah.
next to the Stargate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Stargate. They had a resurrection chamber. Again,
Yeah.
it's all in plain sight, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Daniel Jackson
Yeah.
takes Shaori to the resurrection chamber, and Ra turns up and
Yes.
tries to suck his soul. Your soul is mine. Takes the soul out of his forehead as he's trying to resurrect his girlfriend,
Yeah.
Shaori. Oh, we've got a question coming for Gary. What's going on? Why has that just come through? Maybe
Gary's not here anymore. Sorry, Joe Elio.
he may be not watching live.
No, yeah.
So he's watching
sorry,
live.
mate.
He's watching the replay, thinking it's live, and posting questions. Sorry, you're an hour late.
Yeah, so
Whatever.
if you tune in about like 8 months, he might be back on then. So you can ask him then.
Daniel Jackson. I love the Stargate movie, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
I know we do talk about it most weeks.
It's that pre-programming.
Yeah.
Lost civilizations, ancient tech.
Mm-hmm.
It was there in 1997.
Right. Okay. So you're saying that it's going to start coming out.
Yeah, they're rebooting it.
Well, I mean, we're being prepped for the resurrection chamber.
I think we're being prepped for Operation Bluebeam.
Well, when he was making, when he was making reference to the resurrection chamber, there is a bit of a naff film with Matt Damon called Elysium.
Matt Damon.
And I was going to say Bridget Fonda, but it's not her. It's Jodie Foster.
Oh.
I think she's the evil corp woman. And basically there is a like a space station, but it's like a halo around the Earth.
I think I've seen this film, yeah.
And everyone lives on Earth as like who are quite poor.
Yeah.
And they all die really, young, and they're all slaves basically.
Yep.
And then,
Battery slaves, Anunnaki, just
Yeah.
mining the gold
exactly
for the space gods.
Yes, and then the elites live on this space station.
Yeah,
and they
Enki Musk,
and
Jeff Bezos.
and they have the resurrection chamber, or I think it's a machine that can heal anything, basically.
Yeah. Some long lost technology.
So
Maybe.
exactly. So but get mining that gold for when they return.
Cash for gold.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what all these
Not
shops
that
on
on your
high street for.
sovereigns. Revered Wolf VIP. That is an excellent handle.
Yeah. I thought it
Well,
said
we're doing well.
I thought it said Reverend Wolf there for a
No,
minute.
yeah. So did I when I first read it. But
Hey all, how's everyone doing? I hope you're all safe and well. We're safe, we're well.
sort of.
Checking in. I'm checking in safe.
Check in safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hands, face, space.
Oh fuck. Oh my god, PTSD. So we're talking about it all yesterday in between talks about how the sort of echoes of the COVID nonsense are still lurking around. And the one that came to my mind was Lidl, because I'd been to Lidl that morning, and they still have the traffic lights up outside.
Do they?
Yeah. They not in operation, but they're there. They're ready.
In case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still see people in mass occasionally, out and about.
It has been, I think, more normalised, hasn't it? In the, that's the right term, in the UK. Like you would see it more in Eastern countries, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Some Asian countries.
Well, that's because they're all like samurais and shit, innit?
I don't think
It's part
so.
of the culture. You don't see Mortal Kombat. Sub-Zero, Scorpion,
No,
Kitana.
I've seen.
They've all got face masks on.
Just there's that one with the big boobs.
The Scorpion, yeah.
Right.
Get over here!
Yeah.
Have you seen Mortal Kombat 2 yet?
Yet.
Have you seen it yet?
No.
You're not going to see it?
It got a good write-up, didn't it? From the Critical Drinker, at least.
Did it?
It did, yes.
Right, I've heard mixed, but
Right.
I've heard that if you like Mortal Kombat, then
You'll
probably
like this film.
probably like it.
No, I have not watched it.
Right, okay.
I was more interested to hear if this is true that Elliot Page has been cast as Achilles.
All right, we're going into the Odyssey now, are we? Nolan's Odyssey.
Well, I don't know. Is that true? That's the internet rumor. Or has he come out and said that?
Do you know what's funny? There are two casting decisions are taking all the headlines away from Zendaya being cast as Athena.
Athena.
Yeah, the god of wisdom
Right. Yes.
and war.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are sweeping for Chris Nolan and saying, well, he's doing this. He's throwing all this DEI in so that he can get his Oscar noms.
Oh, I see.
But some people counter that with saying, no, he's just in the fucking bubble.
Oh, right. Okay.
You know.
Well, I'm just trying. It's a bit of a
Have
strange.
you not seen who's been cast as Helen of Troy?
Lupita Nyong'o, is that her name? Yeah.
Yeah, a 5. You know, the face that launched 3 fishing boats. Come on.
Well, I was always
She's no.
Did you think It's Diane Kruger in Troy.
Yeah, she's no German goddess, is she?
But I didn't think she was like amazing.
Right, okay.
Would you say Diane Kruger is?
If you were saying, right, we're casting Helen of Troy, you can have Diane Kruger or Lupita
Lupito Nyong'o, I think.
I would go with Diane Kruger
Right.
for Helen of Troy,
Okay.
personally.
Right.
Yeah, there's the refusing to confirm who Ellen Page is
Alien
playing.
Page.
I mean, might as well be fucking Alien Page is playing. I've heard Smack talk that he, it, she, whatever, might be playing Achilles in Hades
Oh.
in a dishevelled form.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't really care. I just like the memes on Twitter. They've someone's used AI to put Elliot Page in the role of Brad Pitt as Achilles in Troy.
Fighting.
A massive Nephilim.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and it doesn't go well for him.
What's he called? Who does he have to fight outside the gates?
Oh, that's Hector.
Hector.
That's
That's
later,
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to what Gary said about taking the head.
He chops Hector's head off.
No, no, it doesn't. He drags Hector's corpse,
So he can't bury him.
and Priam, King of Troy, has to go undercover to the Greek camp to plead with Achilles to let me bury my son.
Mm-hmm.
Let me perform the rites. I need to preserve his Nephilim dynasty. Nephilim dynasty. you know?
Otherwise, he'd be wandering the afterlife.
Exactly, yeah, you know, you got to pay,
There's no
put your
purpose.
coins on your eyes for the ferryman and all that lot, you know. It's a big deal.
It is, isn't it?
So, yeah, it was a good do sheet for me. I got, just so you know, I got a book of copy. I got a copy of Dom's book, Traitors, the Pandemic Politicians.
How big's the writing in that one?
It's similar, same I would say, to
Right.
Gary's book. It's,
Wow. Can you imagine being able to write a book with 600 pages?
I think,
Is
Dom
it AI?
edited, you know, he's edited his down
Wow.
to 440.
I mean, isn't 100
450.
pages of...
Yeah, references,
references.
source notes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of online sources and stuff that is used.
It's amazing, isn't it, to do all that?
It's a hell of a lot of work, isn't it?
Yeah. I couldn't even get my head around doing something like that.
No, amazing. So they're available at sheepfarm.co.uk, I imagine.
Yeah,
Is that the website? Sheepfarm.co.uk? Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it's good. Had a good laugh. Met a lot of listeners,
Right.
producers there.
Yeah.
Alan, Tony,
Tony,
Alia,
Alia.
Archie Laddie,
Oh, yeah.
Ligger Lister.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm gonna forget. There's quite a lot, and a lot of people I didn't know
Oh, right.
who
that's nice.
recognised my voice, which is quite bizarre.
It's creepy, isn't it?
Yeah. So
How
it's
did they
good.
recognise your voice? Were you shouting?
No, I wasn't shouting, just
Right. Okay.
trolling, heckling.
I thought you said patrolling.
So that's that done. Should we do some housekeeping quick? Because it's
Yeah.
late, man. Oh, fucking hell, it's loud.
Nearly time for bed.
Don't skip this.
Don't skip it.
No.
Share the word through Telegram, Facebook, or a tweet. Gouge the eyes, let's raise the tone.
Fuck.
Gouge the eyes, help
Okay, there's
us
another one, isn't there?
grow. We can't do this on our own. Our podcast is in the house. Tell your friends and plant a seed. It's housekeeping time. Return some value. It's housekeeping time. Gouge his eye. Gouge his eye.
Oh,
It's
no.
housekeeping time. Focus your
Something wrong with OBS.
It's housekeeping time. Sign up for the newsletter.
Yeah, I need to restart OBS and start up again. I think it'll work.
Right, do it now.
I don't know. Well, let's try this. Let's see what's coming up next. Let me know if you can hear this in the chat, people.
No.
Watch this.
Girl, the will to live, a fertilized octopus egg ingested into the
Whoa.
Just turned it on and off, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's all you need to do.
Let's see what's going up next.
First on BBC One.
The doctor, able to send email without a computer. Was the sewing machine taken over by the spirit of Byron's grandmother? Could a plant really identify a murderer? Is it possible that a parrot could give a young girl the will to live? A fertilized octopus egg ingested into the human system actually grow?
I used to love that program. Was it not on was that one of those programs that was on a Saturday afternoon on ITV or something?
I mean, that's the only place fit for it, really, isn't it?
I think it was, you know.
But yeah, this is a value for value podcast. My favourite way of returning value and getting involved is word of mouth. And I was telling people yesterday, it's like, the algorithm isn't going to help us. Spotify impressions aren't going to help us. We need people to send people links, tell people about this shit show. Otherwise, we're done for.
Nobody else can be underwhelmed if you don't tell people about it.
No. So wherever you are online, if you're in Telegram channels, Facebook groups, Discord servers, I don't know where else people congregate online.
Street corners.
Street corners, yeah. Post some links, say, hey, check this out, you might like it.
Your local bowling alley was quite busy yesterday.
And that helps get more people involved, more people contributing, rather than being passive consumers, being active contributors.
Yes.
It's good.
Be active. Contribute more. Why don't you join us in the Element server? Element is a little bit like...
Discord?
Discord, yes. I was thinking of Droidoids or something then in my head, but there we go. Where you can join each separate rooms and you can chat with us. You could maybe make guest suggestions.
We like them.
You could maybe request a birthday shout out. You could request some focus chi. So if you have something big coming up, like an operation or, something you just need a little bit more oomph for, you could put in a request for focus chi and we would bounce some chi over to you.
Do it as a community altogether. Focus our chi for your given aim in your request.
And like 99.9% accurate.
Effective.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah. You could, if you wanted to, submit show artwork. In the
yes. If you want to produce a credit, show artwork is one way of gaining such delights. We have no submissions this week other than this one from this prolific guy called Phil.
Yeah.
Episode 423 incoming.
Oh, look at that. Nephilim bloodlines rule the world.
Gary Wayne. Pretty slick, that.
Yeah, it's always, I mean, your recent artworks have been on point. I hope people will also notice that there's an extra flourish in the intro to each podcast on the live stream. It's now animated, the final screenshot slide.
No expense spared on this live stream.
No. So who knows how Phil has managed to do that?
Only the people who watch live see that.
Exactly.
Because it gets edited the next day. It gets chopped out. Goes straight to the thumbnail. And the people who listen, they never see it.
No.
I'm just doing it to stretch my abilities. For my own personal...
To continue working beyond your abilities?
Yeah.
Right, okay. That's the only way you improve, though, isn't it?
Yep.
Exactly. You could maybe leave us a review somewhere and tell us about it. Funny ones or offensive ones are usually the best, and they will get read out. Or, if perhaps I'm like some kind of puppeteer in the background and Phil is my patsy.
Oh, we had a comment, didn't we? We had some comments about you being a controlled opposition.
Yeah. So,
Some deranged person on YouTube.
well, I wouldn't say use that phrase.
Would you know? All right, hyper paranoid.
You know, interesting person.
Misguided. How about that?
But they don't know, do they? I might be controlled up.
No, they did know. They said they called you
don't
out.
know. You don't know. I might be controlled up. If you're on YouTube, sub, like, comment, hit the bell, be a member, hype us, super chat us.
It's all good.
Do we? Is there any point in us going through the merch store? We have a merch store.
Fuck the merch store off. Links in the show notes.
Send us news articles, videos, and audio time-stamped, and money.
Keep the mics hot, keep spinning the reel. Your silvers are armor. Your coppers are steel. Echoes in our metal vaults, keep it alive. Give us value. Your coins of power, fueling our drive. Can you be the one to keep us alive? Give us value. Just press play, we slay, asking you today.
Yeah, there's a link in the show notes for our PayPal account, or you can always buy us a coffee if you don't like PayPal. As I say, this is value for value, no sponsors or anything. Throw us a coin. Helps keep us independent, not suckling at the corporate teat. And it's entirely voluntary.
Is it?
It's like, well, yeah, everything's
Why'd
out
you
there
make
for
me do it
free.
then? Oh, right, okay.
You know, nothing's paywalled. That's the whole philosophy behind it.
Yeah.
It's not very good from a business point of view,
No.
but it allows us to speak our minds without fear or favour,
Yes.
you know. So if you're in a position to toss us a coin, do it for the lads.
Lads.
Right, with that being said, I think it's about time we thank the producers for episode 423. And we have Helen from Berkshire, Legalista, Alia, and Sally Thompson. And an executive producer.
Wow.
We have an executive producer, Archie Laddie, for episode 423.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it? How long has it been since we've had an executive producer? Can you remember the last one?
God, it was that. Was it not that guy in America?
Could be.
Yeah.
I don't know. So thank you. You're amazing.
They are.
They are.
Yeah.
So amazing. They're love, literally. The best mate.
You are extremely cool, guys.
The dwarf. The
Current.
The
grape. The doctor of thugonomics.
The
homophobe. The wind.
The giant fucking lenses.
The chest feeding.
Communist.
The based Sigma Chad. The corn pop cunt.
The baby penis.
Inner asshole.
These clockwork clowns are.
The dime bar.
The number 11.
The vegan on the bus. The
blind man.
The big chungus.
The cripple and the mother.
Funny bickering.
From hell.
Bring it on. Are you retarded?
I don't get it, never will.
It's time to big up the man Dems. Yo.
Yeah, thanks for your support for another week. It's very much appreciated.
Lovely stuff. They are so amazing.
They are.
You are extremely cool, guys.
You're extremely cool, guys. Yeah.
Thanks for your support for another week.
Mm-hmm.
So, scandal at Lidl.
Oh, they've got rid of the thing. My wife was telling me about this.
Lidl Plus.
Yes.
The old points. They've brought in a point system.
Oh.
And
So you don't get the double there.
well, the big thing with Lidl Plus was if you spent £250 in a calendar month,
Yes.
as well as all the other bonuses throughout the month, like free bakery items, free fruit and veg, free this and that, coupons for 10% off potatoes, whatever it might be. You spent £250, you got a voucher for 10% off your next shop.
Yes.
So that week, the last week of the month, I would buy
meat.
I'd buy meat. I would buy like 25 quid worth of coffee beans. I'd stock up on expensive stuff like coffee beans, like £5 a bag.
Yeah.
So I'd get 4 or 5 bags.
Yeah,
because I'm getting 10% off. I get dishwasher tablets.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm not paying £7 for dishwasher tablets. I'm paying £6.30. You know. And they've nerfed it.
Yeah.
Lidl
totally
Plus has been
nerfed.
fucking nerfed. Now you have to spend 100 quid to get a fucking cucumber.
It's now. I can't. I do quite a lot of shopping at Morrison's, and it's been points. They do a Morrison's More card.
I've heard for these.
And there's points, and you get like a vouchers. But I dread to think what actually the amount you have to spend in order to get £5 back.
Well, I can tell you, £500 at Lidl.
Is that what it is?
If you want a £5 off voucher, you got to spend 500 quid.
That's probably what it is.
I was saving about 20 quid off my last shop of the month.
They can't afford to do it, can they?
Oh well, I might have to shop somewhere else then.
Where are you going then? Where
I
is
don't
there
know.
to go after
well,
Lidl?
I don't have no reason to go there anymore.
No,
I can try it anywhere.
Aldi.
I might have to go back to Aldi.
Yeah, Black Label. It's Black Label Aldi, the other one.
Yeah, they both have Black Label stuff. I think.
One of them is called Black Label, though, isn't it?
Aldi.
Is it Aldi?
Yeah.
Well, so there is a slightly different format in the newer Aldis. They have a wraparound refrigerated aisle in the newer Aldis.
What do you mean a wraparound?
So in the Aldi in close to here, it goes refrigerated straight down, milk at the bottom. Then you would turn left, come back up, and that would be biscuits in this Aldi, wouldn't it, near here, and then fruit and veg.
Right.
In the new Aldis, you go down, refrigerated, and then you turn back up, and there's an extra big refrigerated. There's another side of refrigeration that has cheeses in. You get dairy, basically. It's an entire dairy, and it's the length of half an aisle.
Wow.
And the biscuits, who knows where they are? They're on the other side of the shop for some reason, across from Crackers, I think.
You know, they move stuff around.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
They do.
Well, why? That's
and
an
different. It's different in different stores.
That's an extra fridge.
Yeah, yeah.
That's an extra fridge.
They've put an extra fridge in. Wow. Fucking hell.
Well,
Big
it
news.
was big to me.
Big news.
It was big to me.
Yeah. Do you go to Aldi regular? I've not been for years, you see.
Yes,
I've been little for years now.
I get my fresh food. Well, sorry. I get everything except meat from Aldi.
Yeah.
Because I've been done too many times with smelly chicken and smelly fish.
Really?
We got some sea bass from Aldi. I think I bought 3 packets of it. It was 3 for 5
Sea
quid.
bass?
Yeah, for like, I don't know, like 8 quid or whatever. Got it home, and I messed up because I think I bought it on like the day after Boxing Day, and I think it had been there since who knows when. Opened it up, and my children still talk about the stench that came from the packet.
Wow.
Because it was so disgusting.
I tend to freeze all my meat.
That would have been a surprise, freezing that one. We opened it the same day, basically, as I bought it, and it stank. Yeah.
Oh, well. Well, I think I've had some rotten things from Aldi.
Yeah.
I remember getting one of those oval sourdough pizzas on a
Not the
Friday.
pizza.
On a Friday.
Yeah.
For me, easy tea on a Friday where I don't cook. And opened it up and there's fucking mold on it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, ruined my easy tea.
My feeling is that because they all move around doing everything in the shop, it's so fast paced, The stuff just gets left, basically. That's my theory.
Right.
And they don't have time to put it in the fridges, so it just gets left in the...
And I'm picky, like, I root for the stuff that's got the longest dates.
Yeah.
On everything, pretty much.
It's just a lottery at Aldi, I'm afraid.
Oh, fuck. They do have the coffee stout, though.
They do, which is... I had one the other week, actually. It was a long time since I had one, and it was marvellous.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Choco one next to it now. Have you tried that one?
I've got one in house. I've not tried it.
I've not tried that one either.
No.
I thought, I won't risk it.
We skipped over ISOs.
Oh.
Sorry.
Did we?
Yeah. We usually do that straight after the housekeeping, but
Okay.
we went on to Little Plus instead. But if anyone out there is new, we always end the show with an isolated clip that's been picked up in the media over the preceding days or week. And I have
Curated, aren't they, usually?
Curated.
You curate them.
Well, I have to create them.
And curate them.
Yeah. I've got 2 for this week. The first one is outrageous.
I've not said anything outrageous there, have I?
Who's that?
Don't know.
Go on.
Second one is it's our dear leader.
Mr. Speaker, I am a gooner.
I am a gooner? Oh, right.
Mr. Speaker, I am a gooner.
Oh, no. He doesn't know, does he? It has a dual meaning.
That's Keir Starlin from PMQs this week.
I know. Who's the guy?
Mr. Speaker, I am a gooner.
Probably wanking over Ukrainian rent boy porn.
Fuck me. What is going on with that story?
The trial's ongoing.
Oh, gosh.
But the judge put out explicit instructions to the jury to not think about or even contemplate what the motive might be for them burning those, targeting those properties and cars.
Okay. So there's a motiveless crime. It's just a crime of wanton abandon.
It's just a case of, did they burn them or not? Don't worry about why. The
Right.
whys.
Isn't that like a large part of a trial usually?
Not this one.
Or an investigation?
Not this
what
one,
the
man.
motive might be?
No.
Right, okay.
So, are we going with Gooner then?
Mr. Speaker, I am a gooner.
What was your one?
I've not said anything outrageous there, have I?
You could probably do that. You could probably do it like that, couldn't you?
Mr. Speaker, I am a gooner.
I've not said anything outrageous there, have I?
Kind of follows on, doesn't it?
I mean, lots of things follow on from Gooner, don't they? It's
Yeah.
like,
Mr. Speaker, I am a gooner.
Get a raging stunk on inches everywhere.
Do that, please.
Gape at the majesty of it.
I was on Spotify to see how many episodes they'd deleted of ours.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started listening to an old episode and was quite shocked, really, at how much of a basic bitch I am.
Shocked by your own personality.
Yeah. It was like, I wouldn't say I was, what would be the term? I don't know. Maybe at least we can't get copyright for this. Maybe I should play a little section. We're talking about homosexuality.
Oh, for
Sorry,
God's sake.
homophobia.
Yeah. Christian group, are they?
Gilead.
Yeah, the Gilead.
Strong.
Could have predicted that response.
Right. Well, it's fucking social pariah in a lot of circles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an unreasonable position.
Where do you stand on homophobia?
I'm not homophobic because I don't think any guy's going to be able to bum me. my defence game's too strong.
Could have predicted that response.
Right. Well, yeah.
It's probably because your ass stinks.
No, what's the reason to be afraid of a gay man?
What's
the only reason to be afraid of is that you're going to get bummed. and I don't think I'm going to get bummed, so I'm not afraid of him. So I'm not homophobic.
I thought this was a really good podcast.
Well, you can't argue with that logic, can you?
I mean, I don't think so because it's your opinion.
Okay. That's just like your opinion, man.
Exactly, yeah. I do think it's because your bum stinks anyway. I don't think you'll be beating them off anytime soon.
So we're going for a double header then.
Mr. Speaker, I am a gooner.
I've not said anything outrageous there, have I?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even get to that bit.
What
Oh,
bit?
it doesn't matter. Well, where the eyesore's from.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh,
No.
What's the reason for being? Why are people homophobic?
because they don't like it, do they?
Don't like it, but they're not fear. Phobic means fear, doesn't it?
Yeah,
you should be afraid of it.
It's a poor use,
a misappropriation.
Right.
Of the
poor
term.
use of language. It's mainly based on religious beliefs.
Well, I think
homophobia.
you're phobic of the culture of gay life.
You're afraid that dick might taste really nice.
The culture you subscribe to is in opposition to the homosexual culture. Is the kind of bones of it. How that operates, I think.
It's bumming.
It's a culture thing.
It's definitely a culture thing because ancient Greece, bumming left, right, and centre, kids as well. Plato, Socrates.
I think I've heard enough.
Yeah, let's just leave that one in the back catalogue.
So yeah, I think that was the first episode on Spotify. Now that's like episode. Oh, it doesn't even say. We didn't even have numbers. Yeah. 12 rules for life, abortion and chaos theory.
Oh Jesus Christ!
2018. That's from 2018. Fuck.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, we've got our eyesores then, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
Thank God for that. It's time to get out of this popsicle
It is,
stand.
isn't it? Yeah. Gosh, it's 11 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah. I've been on Temu again.
Oh no! Is it more boobs filled with antiseptic gel?
No, I've already got them.
Mm.
No, I was looking for tools.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to buy something then?
I have bought some. I've bought a new flashlight.
Sorry?
A new flashlight.
Okay.
It's 18-volt Makita batteries.
Nice.
I already have one. I've got a second one because it's been that good.
Right.
And it charges your phone as well.
Wow.
I bought something else, but the thing that I was amazed by, I found some bumper stickers.
Okay.
Correct. Related to the last story, actually. I found some bumper stickers, about sort of 6 inch by 3 inch, maybe oblong bumper stickers, and they say, "Please be patient, gay driver," and in like a pride flag motif. So I've ordered half a dozen of them.
You're just going to stick them on people's cars.
Andy the builder, Keith the plumber, JC the joiner, they're all getting them. They're all getting them. Next time I work with them, they're getting a please be patient, gay driver bumper sticker on when they're not looking. Just hope they get away without noticing.
Yeah.
Because it's all about the japes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When you got a hard job, a hard life.
Yeah.
You're going to make the most of it.
Mm.
It's like one of the best ones I saw. I was working with JC, the joiner, and Keith, the plumber. And the week before, JC had got a parking ticket somewhere, but he kept it. He'd done it, he'd paid the bill and whatever, and he kept the adhesive thing. He stuck it on Keith's van, didn't he? And we were working opposite hospital.
Oh, right, yeah.
Stuck it on Keith's van. And then went up and told him he got a parking ticket. And he come running down like this. "Where is he? Where is he?" John's like, "He went that way, mate." Boom, down road, looking for a phantom parking ticket guy. So, yeah.
Good. Good stuff.
Bumper stickers, 2 working days apparently, so...
Right.
I might show you next week. I'll show you what they're like next week. I'm just going to keep him in the door of me
2
van.
days from China?
Apparently, yeah.
Wow.
Just keep him in the door pocket there in the van ready for next time.
Will you ever find them beyond the trash?
I'll see what they look like. If they're decent, I might get more.
Right,
get more,
okay.
have some more.
Yeah. Some more japery.
Yeah. You got to have a laugh, haven't you?
Yeah. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you'd have to work.
Right. We got to go. We've more to talk about, but We haven't got time. We went too long with Gary.
Yeah, but it was for the best, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Good podcast. Successful podcast, I think.
Successfully recorded.
Yep.
Yep.
I checked. Yep, it's recording.
Seems to have gone out for once.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
And the only coincidence is Ben wasn't here.
No, Ben's not here for the next several weeks.
No.
You're not here next week, are you?
Or the week after.
Or the week after? I thought it was just one.
No, 2.
Oh, well.
At least.
I can't do a barn raising on my own.
Nope.
Right. I'll have to put the feelers out maybe on Element. If someone wants to do a barn raising with me.
Exactly, yeah.
So I can't do it on my own. I can't talk to myself for an hour or two.
No. Or just have a weekend off.
We had one off last week. We had last week off.
I know, but...
That's like more than I usually have in a year. I've had like 2 weeks off this year already.
I know. And
we're having Father's Day off, aren't we?
Well, it's put in the diary as off, but I can always book someone in.
Right. I don't know. Maybe I might have to get some people in for a barn raising then.
Yeah.
From the chat or something.
Or you can maybe put I don't know what I was going to say. A shout out in the Jedi Academy.
I was just thinking, what if I got Ryan down? How he went through another Alejandro Jodorowsky movie.
Oh, good God.
Like El Topo.
Yeah.
Could do that. It takes a bit of work though.
Yeah.
Because I did like
slice it up.
I screenshotted like near enough every frame of the fucking film.
Yeah.
Of the Holy Mountain. All right, maybe that's an option. Okay. Find out.
Right, okay.
Tell us in the Element server what we're to do. Or just not turn up. It's fine.
Yeah, that's
whatever.
fine. Yeah.
Right, let's sign off for another week then.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure. Take care of
As
yourselves
always.
and each other.
Yes.
Don't have nightmares.
No.
Get a raging stonk on and jizz everywhere.
Get a raging stonk on and jizz everywhere.
Yeah.
Alright, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
I love you.
Epic dub.
Thank you for watching. I am going to aim for the prostate in the men.
Asna!
Based Sigma Chad.
I look like a war-hardened goblin.
You don't give a fuck. I'm a fucking asshole.
Rumboy. Respect. You got caught sucking your fingers on the bust. Wagwan fam, you're going to Somerset. Congratulations on becoming a doctor of thugonomics.
Everybody in the chorus had a dildo.
Oh, I like the dirtiest part of the crack.
Dirty and thick.
Phil's got more confidence than ability. He's never had any formal training.
Wish I had sweat up my ass.
And the sea is always right.
You're getting bummed now.
Are you retarded?
You're a big chungus.
Gape at the majesty of it.
Mr. Speaker, I am a gooner.
I've not said anything outrageous there, have I?